Well, good morning. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. And we do have some people still working around the public comment period. So we'll begin with the motions, then we'll have public comment.
I'll make a motion that we review the minutes of the December 4th, 2024 meeting as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk and waive the reading and move to approve.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve unless otherwise noted.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received by elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of all the invoices as submitted by the various department offices, the commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. That being said, we do not have anything for the airport authority here this morning. Ms. Knapp. So we have, and to clarify for folks here, because of course we're an hour and a half away from the beginning of the other hearings, but if you want to come up here and, I see the public comment period here.
Yes.
So we'll begin with those. And those who have signed specifically to speak to the ordinances themselves, if you would like to speak now and not wait till 10:30, we'll allow that. Or if you'd like to wait, that's fine too. But for public comment period here this morning, we do have a number of speakers, and this is beginning with Mr. Rod Whiteman. Mr. Whiteman approached me last week and informed me he intended to attend public comment, was actually not aware of the current ordinance discussion, but wanted to share some concerns about dilapidated structures in his area and just request the commission to consider looking into this. And so, Mr. Whiteman, if you'd like to have the floor. And for the record, all public comment is 3 minutes.
Here's a copy of this that can be passed around the room if you desire. I've got one eye open. I enjoyed West Virginia's bowl game last night. Mostly, not necessarily totally. But,
What are you speaking of now, Garrett?
Public comment.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
game ended at 1:45 last night. The results weren't perfect. There's a copy.
Drop that.
There's 3 copies. I'm certainly not accustomed or comfortable being in a group of folks such as y'all. But this is an address to the Nicholas County Commission and other health, law enforcement, and environmental agencies that will listen to the problem. I'm a 45-year resident of Keys Creek Road in Summersville. Some 3 years ago, a fire occurred in this vacant house. It was vacant then and had been for years. On the way up the Keys Creek to my house, so it's probably on about the 400 block of Keys Creek Road. As of this date, it looks just exactly like it did the day after the fire. It is in danger of collapse, a health hazard, and a growing landfill site and likely home to snakes and skunks. It is the 4th landfill to develop on the Keys Creek over the last numerous years. I and my wife Marla are privileged to drive by this mess separately or together some 50 times weekly. We think it needs cleaned up. There are likely reasons it hasn't been addressed. A likely snag might be funds to pay for the cleanup. I would dispute that money is the problem, citing 3 things. McKees Creek Road was repaved some 2 miles in recent years, and that had to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is a state road. McKees Creek, at the start of my property, becomes the old Gad Road. Old time folks around here know that Gad is where the lake was built. Not many years back, hunters and others convinced the Corps of Engineers to create a parking lot for turkey hunters, or others that might enjoy what's done on public properties, in this case, the thousands of acres around Summersville Lake. Thousands of dollars of money was spent to improve, gravel the road, and create that parking lot. The parking lot is now becoming a public landfill. Not far from this burned-out dwelling is a large landfill that has been allowed to exist and grow, with environmental and health agencies looking and choosing to ignore the problem.
In 30 seconds, just so you know.
A fourth landfill is frequently my property, which borders the Gad Road. Folks get beyond city limits, drive past a burned-out house or seeming landfill, and decide my area is a grand place to deposit their tires, televisions, trees, and trash. This activity is what we have when we allow areas to get in disrepair. I and Marla have hosted 2 Whiteman reunions over the years, and another is talked about, relatives coming from Nebraska, 12 or 15 states. Why do they want to come to West Virginia? They say you are in the prettiest, most inviting area of any of us, and your area has a lot to attract. Close by, we have 4 state parks, a national park, the most scenic bridge in the country, the best whitewater rafting east of the Mississippi River, and where the Boy Scouts have nationally and internationally came to camp and enjoy what our area has to offer.
And thank you
A lot
for
of
your time.
tourists
We
get
have
to-
a lot of folks here coming this
I'm
morning.
30
and so-
seconds from done. 30
Okay, well, I'm
seconds.
sorry, we are timed unfortunately.
Please.
So I apologize for that. We'll have a lot of 3 minutes today. But that being said, we'll go to Mr. Jason Hypes, and
I would like to speak concerning the 2 ordinances. I can wait until a later period, till 10 o'clock or 10:30 if it need be.
either way's fine. However you-
Will I be able to speak again, or am I relegated to just 3 minutes?
It's 3 minutes either way.
Because I can do,
Okay.
I could probably do 3 hours concerning these 2 ordinances. So you tell me, if I only get 3 minutes, I'll give you 3
3 minutes
minutes.
per
but-
meeting, or I don't see it on that.
You have established a commission rule that public comment is 3 minutes. Now, you can change that rule, that's up to you all.
And do we have permission to defer those 3 minutes to another person if their points are more valid?
Good
and
question.
With more sustenance than us as well? Because you're gonna run into that here in just about, an hour when people start showing up.
Once again, it falls to your discretion.
I don't have a problem with that.
Thing of it is, it'd be hard to comment on something you haven't heard yet.
I agree. I've read the 2 ordinances, and I've read a bit of the law that the LRA is based upon. 3 minutes is not much time to talk about them. They're full of concerns that I have. So if I could speak 3 different times, that'd tickle me to death.
Well, what if we go to 5 minutes at 10:30?
Well, you need to give Mr. Whiteman the same opportunity.
And that's what I was
I
getting ready to
agree.
do
I
next.
agree.
That's what I was getting ready to do.
So we hold the bar at 5, and somebody wants 6, and then somebody wants 7, and somebody wants
I
8.
mean, that's just
Well,
what we just consider here
What
this morning.
are you saying one time 5 minutes?
Yes.
I like 9 minutes better than 5. I like 3
20,
different.
30.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I signed up to speak because I thought, the first time I signed up, well, that was the sign-in sheet, and then there's 2 more sign-in sheets, so I'm thinking, hey, I've signed 3 sheets, I ought to get 9 minutes.
Public
Now, that's up to you fellas,
Hey
are
there.
running the show here, if you wanna, keep me at 3, that's fine, I'll stay as much as I can in 3 minutes. But you also need to decide right now whether you're gonna defer or let folks defer to one another, because you're gonna run into that.
We've already
Legal
said, I
counsel.
don't think anybody has a
Legal
problem with that
counsel.
part. If you'd like to defer your minutes.
The public comment for the ordinance is set at 10:30.
Yes.
This is your typical,
General
every
public comment.
meeting, public comment period.
Absolutely.
So this is probably not the appropriate time, I should probably wait until.
If you, that's
Until
your
10.
choice, I can't tell you one way or another. This public comment is required by the Open Meetings Act, and it is set at the beginning of every meeting, every 2 weeks. The public comment for the ordinance is set at 10:30.
For both ordinances?
Yes.
At 10:30?
Yes.
I can wait till
Yeah,
10:30.
1 to 10, yeah, they're split up.
Right, but they'll overlap.
The LRA comment section is at 10, and the public safety is at 10:30?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they set it up on there, but they'll overlap.
That's what it says on the
Yes.
door out there.
Yes, it'll overlap.
Might I get my final 30 seconds?
Okay. So that'll be a final 2 more minutes. So you may continue. Yes.
Wherever I can here.
So what does that mean? We get 5 minutes? Is everybody get 5 minutes then?
We're currently at his 5 minutes, and I'll address
Okay,
that.
all right.
Well, everything we have in the area is a lot for tourists to consider. The third huge financial investment on McKees Creek was 2 years ago when the State Department of Highways spent 10 days widening McKees Creek Road by 3 feet with hundreds of tons of stone, gravel, wire baskets to hold it in place, a half dozen pieces of equipment, a dozen laborers. It seemed very conducive to inviting considerable more traffic to the road. Finally, I dream and hope that I and my son and our families will help that where I reside will someday maybe be a possible site to enhance tourism attraction in the Summersville area. We have a dream, and with some help from this commission, could we hope for a burned out house to be addressed? Please help. In line with a famous quote from my favorite president, Ronald Reagan, County Commission, tear down this house.
Well, you're on it. Okay. So thank you for your time, Mr. Whiteman. I appreciate that. And I apologize for the structural workings, but we're always a work in progress and never set by any means, so. That being said, so Mr. Heist, would you like to wait until the time period?
If I get 1 5-minute block, then yes, I'll wait.
I think it'd be
Did we
5 for
decide?
ordinance if you wanna ask me.
Well, yeah, that tickle me to death. If I could speak 5 minutes on the
Yeah.
LRA and 5 minutes on the safety,
Yeah.
I would be fine with that.
And before the hearings, I intend to speak a little bit myself, so that might commandeer some
All right,
of your
appreciate that.
concerns anyway.
Thank
But,
you.
And talking to each commissioner individually before this meeting, it's my understanding that the consensus is that you're gonna hold more public hearings. So this may
Yes.
not be the only opportunity you have to speak.
That would be fantastic.
yes. Well, I'm open to the idea, but depending on how today goes, I have comments to say after the
Sure,
public comment.
that's a vote that you guys take. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, based on my
But
individual.
yes, absolutely not against it.
Yes.
If we feel the need. Mr. Darrell Rose, is that you, sir?
Yes,
Would you like to wait, or would you like to speak now?
I'd like to wait.
Okay. So that being said, that's all for public comment. We will take a quick recess, and Director McGinnis, if you'll get Sheriff Dunley and Chief Johnny Evans for our next
Yeah,
appointment.
but they're right outside the door.
Okay.
Yep.
What company are you with?
WCHS.
Okay. So you drink coffee and tea? I hear you. Oh, well. I hear you. Okay, we'll go back on the record. We'll go back on the record. That being said, we're joined this morning by Sheriff William Nunley, Chief Deputy Johnny Evans, and Homeland Security and E911 Director John McGinnis with discussion concerning a janitor for 449 Water Street, which is of course the new Office of Emergency Services for Nicholas County. So good morning, the three of you.
Commission, I'll go ahead and get started. First off, I want to take the opportunity to thank you all. This will probably be my last commission meeting as sheriff. However, I'll be attending meetings with the new sheriff-elect Johnny Evans. But I want to take this opportunity and thank y'all for the work that y'all have done for the county and for the sheriff's office. I feel like we've had a really good working relationship throughout my 8 years as sheriff. And, you know, it's been struggles. Obviously, we've worked through a lot of them, and we've done a lot of good things. In my 8 years, we've just really been able to enhance our county and enhance our department. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for that. Couldn't have done it without you, and, you know, it means a lot.
Thank you.
But, and I think that relationship will continue just to grow. But, what I have here, I've got an application. As you know, we've had a guy on community service, Roger Gray. He has been doing community service down at our building and has been doing an absolute phenomenal job cleaning, painting, just, you know, anything that we ask him to do. And you know, he has had a troubled past. However, he has proven himself to me, to Sheriff-elect, to John McGinnis, 911 Director. I believe they'll speak on his behalf as well. But he has turned in an application for employment And I would recommend him for position with the county. I'm gonna give you guys his application, obviously. Yeah, I'm not asking for any decisions of who you guys decide to hire, but just my opinion, and I believe he'd be a really good fit. You know, obviously, the county's subject to random drug tests if hired, and that'd be something that would definitely be enforced as always is with the county. But, I can't say enough about this guy of how he has just kept our building clean, up to date, just anything we ask, and he never is idle. He is always busy. It takes a lot to impress me, and if anybody deserves second chances, I truly believe it's this guy right here. But I just want to give you guys that application that he's turned into me. I think he'd be a good fit for the county. I don't know what y'all's plans is for that, but I think it'd be something greatly to consider to be a huge benefit to the county for that building. So he's mowed grass, weed eated, trimmed bushes. If I had to give you a list, I'd fill up 2 sheets of paper right off the top of my head. But his work ethic has been phenomenal.
I just say that he's one of those guys that you don't have to say, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. I mean, like this morning came in, everything's been mopped before we even got there at 8 o'clock. He just jumps on it, and he doesn't, like Billy said, he does not sit down. He's always busy, and I'm sure John can say the same for him.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he does everything, even yesterday with the transfer of all dispatch and everything. They were amazed with what he does. Like Sheriff and Chief said, he's always early, and he never stops. And I fully support the decision, as a recommendation. I mean, he is, what he's done for us has also helped him. And that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
There's no question, he is a different person because of what we gave him the opportunity to do down there, and hands down, I recommend him.
Very good. I'm all about second chances, like I said. Anybody I've ever come across that deserves a second chance of having a steady job, work family, and that will be part of our team, I believe he would fit right in. He's proven himself to me with that. And I was skeptical at first. But like I say, where credit's due, I'll give credit due. And I'd say he will work and does work harder than a lot of county employees. I'm impressed with him. Very good.
And
But
good
that's-
work too, actually. I mean, when I went down there and I saw him working, I mean, he never stopped, like you said. So
Yeah, we've
we're in agreement with it, so.
He's he's always breaking a sweat. If there's an empty box that's put in the floor, if you need that box, you better get it, because it's gonna be gone. I mean, he's gonna clean it up. Somebody walks through the floor and it's stracked up, he's behind them with a mop, make a clean sweep of things. I mean, it's, like the Sheriff Evans said, you don't have to tell him to do it, he just does it. And that's a godsend.
Let's tone it down a little bit, so no other employers are trying to get us.
Yeah, there might be employees in the room.
Pretty tight?
Yeah, well, there's been
tight?
some people already trying to pull for him.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Well, in this procedure, of course, this is a new facility and it'll be a new position. I did confirm with legal counsel we'll have to post this position.
Sure.
But I do recommend the commission strongly consider this recommendation. Do we need another agenda item to create this position? Because this is,
But would this be something that could just
Concerning
come
a-
under John, as like the dispatchers do?
It could be, sure.
That's what I was thinking, it could be
Hire him under
just a
his-
hire under John.
I'm fine with that. So that will lead to responsibility to post and everything in Homeland Security.
Yeah.
You have a problem
Get
with
him an
that?
application, we get back down to the office, we'll take care of it.
That's fine.
Very well. Like, I didn't expect any decisions today because I knew the county will have to post this job if it's created. And there's definitely a great need for it. And I just want to give him my recommendation because the application was turned into me for it and he has great interest and it's where he wants to be. So that means a lot too. But, you know, whatever the commission decides, you know, obviously we'll respect those decisions. Appreciate everything you guys have done for me over my team. Can't say enough. We've brought our department a long way, and it's not been easy, but you know, a lot of hard work. We've done it, and you know, we still got some ways to go, but we're way better off than we was 8 years ago.
Well,
Thank
clearly
you
I
all.
didn't come prepared, but I want to say thank you to you as well. You've had one of the harder 8 years of any sheriff in this county for a long time, and I think you've handled it well.
I appreciate that.
And also your previous chief and your current chief. You've done this county right.
I'm excited for what's to come. I know Sheriff Evans will step right in and he's gonna take over the reins and already has on a lot of things, and you know, he's gonna do great things. He has great ideas, and he'll continue a good working relationship with the commission and everybody in the county. You know, we work great with, you know, John down there. He's phenomenal at what he does and working with us and keeping us up to date. We have one of the best teams right now that I've seen us have in a long time. Thank you. That's all I have today.
How's the uniforms and badges and all that come on?
Everything for the Class A is good to go. Class B, we're struggling just a little bit, but we're pushing through.
Getting closer. It's looking good.
It's always a process.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for taking that under advisement.
Thank you, Commission.
At the request of the commission, James Gerwig concerning the sneeze guard purchase, I'm gonna say, construction material, because that's a little professional. It's not pure, Mr. Gerwig is present, legal counsel
Yes, or is not present?
is not present.
Well, this is the second time you've set him for hearing. As you recall, the county paid him about $6,500 3 years ago to construct a sneeze guard. It was never constructed. He failed to appear. I wrote him before we set it for meeting before the commission, and he did call. We missed each other. I wrote him and asked him to come to the last meeting. He didn't appear. You asked me to write him again to come to this meeting. He didn't appear. I think your only option at this point is to file suit against him in magistrate court.
That's my recommendation.
I mean, it's county money. You can't just let it go out.
Absolutely correct.
Is that dollar figure too high?
I don't know. I thought it was 65. It could be less.
No, but I mean, magistrate court doesn't it top off at 5,000?
10,000.
Oh, 10,000.
It's, I think it's 67 and some change. I was trying to.
That is my recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? I have none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry. And we got 1 minute spare. Do you have anyone else coming with you? Okay. That being said, we do have a representative of Rodney L. LaRose Sr. This is regarding consideration of property donation tabled from the December 4th, 2024 agenda meeting. Also because of business relationships, legal counsel, do I have a requirement to abstain?
I don't think there's any personal benefit. There's no county money involved. I mean, if you feel more comfortable recusing yourself, that's fine. I don't think it's necessary.
I feel it's appropriate. So I'm going to appoint Commissioner Chapman as president for this agenda item 11.
Okay, for this agenda item is, Mr. James Mylan is here to represent Rodney and Barbara LaRose in the consideration of a donation of a building to the county. And if you want to speak.
Just the same as last week, Commissioner. Again, the offer is extended by Mr. LaRose to donate the former BB&T building to the county at no cost to the county. I believe it could be a big asset to the county. So I believe you guys had an opportunity to look at the building, inspect the building. So we just leave it in your hands. If you'd like a building, it's all yours.
Did you look at the deed and everything?
Yeah, Mr. Mountain prepared a deed. You have it. I've reviewed it. It's fine.
Any buyback clauses or anything?
No strings attached.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept or reject this building as a gift from Little Rose family.
I'm sorry. This is for the original bank and the parking lot, not the drive-through.
Correct. Over to
Just to be
the
clear.
metal rail,
Correct.
the immediate parking lot. Make a motion to accept the building?
There's been a motion and a vote. Now I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of accepting this building on behalf of Nicholas County to bring it into the building commission, or do we just accept it as the
You can
county, or
accept it
we
as the
can make
county.
that decision later? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Building done.
Congratulations,
sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we will go on a break. Till
I'm going to reconvene this meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Of course, we have relocated to the Day Report Center. I want to say that I appreciate the attendance here this morning. Before the public comment period, I'm going to reserve the right to explain a little bit of how this come to fruition and also my stance as of today. And I'm glad to still hear any and all comments, and I'm sure the other commissioners are as well. And I'll invite the other two commissioners to speak. Once I'm done, I'm going to ask the sheriff if he wants to be able to speak a few moments just real quick. In fact, actually, if you want to say your piece first, then I'll begin.
Sure, absolutely. Sheriff William Lumley, your sheriff for a few more days here in the county. I'd like to welcome everybody for coming out, all the citizens with their concerns. I'll say this, it takes a village to make everything go around, and we've heard that a lot. And listening to y'all's concerns, the commission is going to take into consideration, I know. And there's a lot of valid, you're going to have a lot of valid concerns, complaints. I know a lot of you's upset. I ask all of you just to please keep it cordial, try to refrain from using profanity, and just keep it professional. I believe the county commission, once they hear all of y'all's concerns, I believe they'll make a decision what's best for the next county citizens. I really do. Let's just keep it professional. And this is the biggest county commission meeting I think I've ever seen in Nicholas County. And I thank all of y'all for coming out, because this is what we need in this county. Get a lot of good ideas from today, and we'll be able to take a lot away from it. So please voice your concerns. Just be professional with it. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to know how many council members, do y'all take an oath to the Constitution? That's all I want to know. Don't need to talk to him, that's the same one that's ever customized.
Well, I'm not going to answer any questions on that. I'm going to turn it over to the commission.
Okay. So that being said, if everyone would please just give a moment, and then we'll begin hearing from you all. I want to explain the path that led to the code section of this that the county commission was based off of in what we got from Webster County. In April 8th of 1989, Senate Bill number 222, you can find it online, or I can try and provide copies. I only have one with me today. It began this code section, which is referred to in the Safe Structures Ordinance as Code Section 713FF. So right here, I'll turn to it here. This is the duty to require clearance of refuse and debris from private lands, notice of demand thereof, procedures to contest demand. This code section passed by the legislature in 1989, did not even require an ordinance. So frankly, that was pretty bad law, in my opinion. And commissioners were obligated to require the clearance of any refuse and debris consisting of remains of any unused or unoccupied dwelling. Thankfully, March 27th of 2018, Senate Bill 412 was passed. This expands and clarifies Code Section 713FF. This is the authority of county commission to regulate unsafe or unsanitary structures and refuse on private land. Authority to establish an enforcement agency, county litter control officers, procedure of complaints, lien and sale of property to recover costs, entry on, and this is what I don't like, entry on land to perform repairs and alterations to satisfy a lien and the recipient of grant and subsidies. So what this did is it did require an ordinance, which I do think is appropriate. It clarifies the manner in which unsafe or unsanitary structures are determined. It permits creation of an enforcement agency. And this code section does permit entry on private land to perform, as stated, repairs, alterations, or satisfy a lien. This bill permitted entry onto private land as long as it causes the least amount of inconvenience to persons in possession, which I think attendance on private property is an inconvenience in its entirety. Stating from this bill, line number 63, the county commission shall make findings of fact, determinations, and conclusions of law as to whether the dwelling or building is unfit for human habitation due to dilapidation. So in the state code, it's saying that the county commission has discrepancy, which I think a lot of us have concerns of, including myself, but I want to explain again, state code. I'm sorry, we do not. I'll try and talk as loud as I can. Also, this states the county commission has the authority to order the owner or owners thereof to repair, alter, improve, vacate, remove, close, clean up, or demolish the dwelling or building in question, or to remove or clean up any acclimation of refuse or debris, overgrown vegetation, or toxic spillage, or toxic seepage within a reasonable time, and impose daily civil monetary penalties on the owner or owners who fail to obey the order. And so there again, I think a very big concern of all of us, state code. Many concerns we will likely hear today have been established in the bills and code sections that have been that I have referenced here. This also led to legislation that was passed April 10th of 2021. This bill created the Reclamation of Abandoned and Dilapidated Properties Program. The very first two lines of this code section that was passed in 2021 reads as follows: to assist county commissioners or municipalities in their efforts to remediate abandoned and dilapidated structures as provided by Code Section 713FF. The code section I just told you, the original, and then the update that we all have very many concerns with. And this program started actually a fund with state dollars to support the requirements that are laid out in Code Section 7-13FF. We have had many complaints that the commission is stating that the legislature is at fault at this, and that we are using the legislature as a scapegoat. But what I want you to realize is just this: we are a subsidiary government of the state of West Virginia. We are not CEOs. Well, let's talk business. That we are not CEOs. We are basically district managers. We are handed down state code from the state of West Virginia, which we do have to abide by. Should this ordinance not pass, we need to go back to the legislature, clear up the language, and maybe consider it again at a later date. There's been called for investigations, which I don't understand, because this has been passed by the legislature. This has been enacted in Webster and Fayette counties. And in Webster County, for example, for the last 2 years, they have received federal funds, and I think Delegate Tom Clark actually put on Facebook yesterday how they received over $300,000 to be able to tear down dilapidated buildings. Going into this, we were requested to consider this by New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, which is our economic development authority partner, which is a multi-county organization. I do believe that their request was sincere and recommended counties to go off of, which we did select Webster. And for anyone that would like to know, you can, and I can try and provide copies of this. Frankly, it did not scan very well from the County Commission Office of Webster. But this was passed on September 14th of 2022, Book 30, page 185. It is the exact verbiage that the commission took up for consideration because it was a pre-existing ordinance from another county. As I have been involved in this process, I have found a number of concerns that in the current proposal. Some of my major concerns include involuntary entrance on the property, while we are asked by code to consider vegetation, and the vagueness of the proposed ordinance due to state code. With the many issues that I have found that originate from State Code 7-1-3FF, state code and its vagueness clearly complicates the sincere efforts that I believe this commission had to simply work on dilapidated structures. My proposal, and then I'll turn it over to the other two commissioners, to my fellow commissioners, is as follows. Let us hear the concerns of the good citizens of this county here today. And unless a true majority of speakers convince the commission to continue on with this ordinance, it is My recommendation, we consider a vote of abandonment, which we cannot do until January. Is that right, legal counsel?
Yes, it's set for third reading in January.
Well, it's still my recommendation to do it today, but I'm being advised we can't do that. And we begin a process to consider a new ordinance, basically with the intent, as my opinion states, as follows. An ordinance that states on dilapidated buildings, should the owner agree to assistance, the commission, if we can find an ordinance that is compliant with state code, or if we got to change it, if the owner is in agreeance to assistance, make sure we're still eligible through this ordinance to be able to receive federal funds. We'll clean it up for you, and you still keep your property, and no mention of liens or sale or anything like that. That's my recommendation. Thank you. That was not my intention, but I appreciate that. And I also recommend in this, you'll see reference in some of these ordinances to a county beautification committee, which we do not have. That is proposed as a citizen board to help the commission and the county as a whole come up with ways to help improve the county, make it prettier and all this stuff, whatever. And in creating a county beautification committee, I believe that would be a board that could work alongside the commission to try and work through state, federal regulations, state code, so on and so forth, to try and accomplish that. That's only my recommendation, but that is my recommendation here this morning. I apologize to all of you who have been misled by social media and everything else. I've tried to be out there as much as I can, but we're all here today, and I'm glad to clarify where I'm at. And at this time, if any of the other commissioners would like to speak, they can speak, and then we'll begin.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming. This is what government's all about. You know, this is a decision. We're asking you to help us, help all of us. And this was not meant with any intention or malice. The state put together a pile of money. If we don't follow their rules, we don't get the money. The money was made to clean up dilapidated buildings. That's all we care about. Abandoned, unsafe structures. We don't care about your barns. We don't care about your wood sheds. We don't care about anything. We don't care about your cars sitting in the driveway. We don't care about your grass. So thank you for coming, and I pretty much a sentiment I agree with what Garrett said.
All right, so I jotted a few notes down here. First off, I wanted to welcome you guys and thank you. This is a participative government. This is democracy in action. This is how everything works. And I believe he wanted to be referred to as good citizen. And I want to tell you that I've sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, several times in my life. Once when I entered the United States Marine Corps, once when I came out of there, once when a couple of jobs I've had, and actually this. And I've also sworn to uphold what I feel is the best interest of Nicholas County. And doesn't mean I'm going to tell you what you should do. That's given an option. I'm going to try to back up and say, what's the best option we can actually provide?
But if it goes against the Constitution.
Let me finish. You'll have your turn. I won't mind. Please, just real quick. So, the best interest of the county. I was asked this morning by somebody on Facebook, because you guys, most of you probably know me from Facebook, and the gentleman posted a question. He said, would you have passed this ordinance and voted to go forward with it if you had not had resistance? And I said, absolutely yes. And he said, why? And I said, because when I read this ordinance, I read it with the purest intent, knowing what my intention was. My intention was to go around, find structures just like I have in Craigsville, 3 or 4 of them. The homeowners have already agreed, and tear them down. Provide assistance, financial assistance, as the other 2 commissioners stated, through a partnership and a voluntary program. So when I started reading down through that, I'm like, don't want to do this, don't want to do that, don't want to do this, don't want to do that. You got a boat in your yard, it's not running, hopefully you can get it fixed and enjoy it on the lake next month. Just a second. And then we get to the bottom, we're like, hey, but right here's the meat and potatoes, what we need so we can secure the state and federal funding. Now, intent is very difficult to prove. I can sit and tell you something all day long, we vote this into place, all of a sudden we start coming after you after boats and dogs in your yard, or too many tires, or that type of thing. So, with the other view, in other words, when I had folks come that maybe don't trust the government, or they've been burned, or whatever the past history was, I was able to go back and reread that through a different set of eyes and say, we've got some valid points here. So we've captured a few up here. The summation of what we've gathered so far is, when I say agricultural structures, that could be barns, that could be things used to store hay in, because they don't have light, they might not have ventilation, they might not have sanitary facilities for restrooms. Who's that? Say again? Oh, sorry, but I'll try to go back and forth. The second one we had was vagueness of the ordinance. When I read back through with those set of eyes, that's what I saw. There's a lot of lateral variation in that, absolutely 100%. We're not disagreeing with that. The government overreach kind of goes hand in hand with that. In other words, you give somebody a lot of lateral movement, it's hard to tell what they're going to do with that power, right? 100% agree with that. And then the final one was occupied structures. There's some folks in this room right now that have a personal narrative, and I'm telling you, a guy explained it to me. I think he's he's a 27-year commissioner, and he said most of the time you don't make it after 20 years because you've had to tell enough people no that they won't vote for you anymore. That's just how that works. If you tie that concept back in, there's some folks in here that due to personal disagreements, due to being told no, due to whatever the case is, they're driving a personal agenda, right? And that personal agenda I definitely understand, and one of those key points was that we were going to increase the homeless population in Nicholas County. There is no intent, but we can actually write that out so you'll have that in black and white, to remove anybody from a structure. If you're living in a camper with no power, whatever the case is, and that's safe, and you feel like you're safe and secure in there, have at it. There's a reason I don't live in California anymore. Born and bred in Nicholas County, went to the Marine Corps, went to California, traveled around the world. I like the freedoms I have here, which is why I'm back here. Yeah, Scott Elson. So, and Scott brought that up to me. And I mean, folks, that's exactly how I feel. So I think if we can keep separating, I'll say this, shut up because y'all know I'm a talker. If we can keep separated personal agenda and professional agenda that ties into an ordinance, I think we can make it through this pretty quick today, and we can actually focus on the issue at hand, not personal narratives and agenda. Thank you very much.
And to address one question so we don't have to multiple times, why is it in the ordinance? Well, what it is, when we take this up for consideration, haven't voted on it. When we took this up for consideration, we took Webster County, which was a code compliant version, which can be edited still. What is it? So there's no mechanism in state code right now where we could automatically do that, that I'm aware of. And
We nailed this type of thing about 2 years ago.
Okay. If you'd like to sign up to speak, we'll give you more time there. But we took a code compliant ordinance from Webster County and considered it. That's all we're doing. We are considering. I believe it's so much where we just stop and start over, but that's just my personal opinion. And if you all would like to speak, please sign up, but we'll start with the public hearing here now per person.
You're the paperwork. Don't have the ordinance at all. You're here.
Okay. Yes, we are open to the public now.
I'll sign up.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't bring my pen with me. Could I borrow yours?
So that being said, we're going to begin with Susan Hillary. And the speakers, if you'll come up to the blue podium right up here, and you may begin. We have decided as a commission to go from 3 minutes to 5. You may address the commission one time, but we usually do 3, so we are offering you more of time. And Ms. Hillary, your time begins now.
One second. Just so you guys know, I want to speak this up so everybody can hear. Typically, you get 3 minutes in public comment. When that buzzer goes off, you're done. It's just how it works. We've extended that to 5 minutes today. We're trying to do everything we can to facilitate everybody. Just understand when that buzzer goes off, you're cutting into somebody else's time. Thank you.
What are you going to do about reserving or? There was a question this morning about yielding time to other people. Yes. I think it's better to hear the opinions of more people than it is one person. My recommendation is to not do that. It's certainly within your own discretion to do it either way.
Is there any objection to legal counsel's recommendation? Okay, hearing none, that is how we will proceed.
One question before I start. Is this on both ordinances? Might be speaking for both ordinances?
Yes, we're going to address both ordinances at the same time, so if you sign up on the wrong sheet or anything, you don't get caught up and have to come back later.
So I signed up on 2 sheets. Do I get?
We're going to address both ordinances at the same time.
So is that 5 minutes on both or
Yes.
10 minutes on?
5 minutes.
Okay, just clarifying. Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Susan Hillary, and I am opposed to this the way it is written because I feel that it is a overreach and a infringement on some of our public rights as citizens of this United States in West Virginia, Nicholas County. I have a question as why you chose maintenance members from a recognized civic organization. Not all citizens of Nicholas County are members of organizations. and have valid input to put in that. It should have been a citizen of Nicholas County. And you are going to, what I see from this, you're going to be establishing at least 5 or more employees for this city or for Nicholas County. Luckily, you all got a building donated to you today, which will allow you to house that, and that's a blessing on your part. It was donated by.
Rodney LaRose.
That's behind it all.
Yeah. And why is the region, New River Gorge Region and Development Authority on there as part of it? And number 9 says that you are giving powers. I don't like that terminology. Powers goes a long way. I could say, I don't like your property, and come in and you to the county commission and say, no, get rid of this. And, and I don't remember which one it is. If it comes up for sale, our property is tax delinquent, and it comes up for sale, you all have right to refuse me coming in and repossessing my property. It's the way I read it. I don't like that. You're taking me away from me. And you have first refusal, so nobody else can buy the property that's on there. And then you're going to resell it to me at fair market value? No. And the other thing is, I have a person in my neighborhood, and you addressed this, Garrett, and I thank you for that. His house is what you would consider unsafe. And that is, I don't want to see him homeless. And I don't want to see people forced into something like this. And on page 7, you copied this from Webster. This is got the page book and number from where it was filed and at the county clerk's office. And this is on the Nicholas County Property and Safety Ordinance. It says residents of Webster County. So, what's Webster got to do with it?
There's your proof it came from Webster County.
Yeah. But, and then you go on to the broad spectrum of vegetation. Very broad spectrum of vegetation. I don't like the stuff growing around Gary's property. I want to complain, and you all have to investigate my complaint against Gary. So, as I see this, and I believe that you have stated it yourself, that you want to do away with this, I think you need to take a step back and repunt. Thank you for allowing me to. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Okay, we have Carrie Decker. Carrie Decker.
Yes, she's good to sign.
Okay. Jason Hypes.
I grew up being taught that the United States of America is the land of the free. Those lyrics are in our national anthem. In our Pledge of Allegiance, which we recite at the beginning of the meeting at 9 o'clock, states, with liberty and justice for all. Personal liberty is the cornerstone that our republic, which we have a republic, not a democracy, is founded upon. Our forefathers fought a war with the most powerful nation in the world for personal liberty. For the right of a man to do with his property whatever he wants to do with his property. For the right to not have government interfering in his daily affairs and how he conducts them, even when the government disagrees with him. It's my experience that governments in their history have always overstepped their authority. It seems this is happening right now. They always grow. They always get bigger. Government consumes, gentlemen. It consumes. It intrudes. It interferes. Personal freedom, in my opinion, personal freedom, and apparently those here gathered here, many of them anyway, and liberty should be paramount when any form of government is considering adopting any type of legislation. Laws should not be passed based on fear, aesthetics, or even safety. It was Benjamin Franklin who said, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. The Property Safety Ordinance and the Land Reuse Agency together, fellas, they're terrible ordinances. And both threaten the very liberty that we hold dear. These ordinances do nothing but grow our local government at the expense of the taxpayers. They create an opportunity. For tyrannical nanny state personalities to thrive. That's what your litter control officer will be, guaranteed. They increase, and you should take heart to this next bit, they increase opportunities for government officials to make backroom deals, to seize the property of individuals who do not have the means. Especially for one real estate agent.
Men who do not have the means to defend themselves from such government overreach. Gentlemen, and I do not mean to malign anyone's character on this commission, but this ordinance is terrible optics for the framers thereof and for you gentlemen. To even bring it forward for the public, it's obvious that we are not happy with it. By the crowd that's this. How many of you people are here for the first time at a county commission meeting?
That's a shame.
We're here because these ordinances, they're terrible. They're terrible.
They're bills of attainder.
And despite any noble and good intentions by the commissioners, and let's assume that your intentions are good and noble, these two ordinances make you seem like the type of corrupt politicians we've all come to despise. Despite your efforts to justify this obvious attempt at land grabbing by veiling it under the guise of safety and aesthetics, for lack of better words, you've failed miserably. At best, these two ordinances appear as an attempt by the commission to take property away from the owners, and at worst, it appears that the commission is trying to take property away from the owners. Gentlemen, is it not obvious to you how these two ordinances together could easily be used by corrupt officials? Maybe not you, but who the next commissioner. Maybe not the county litter control person. Maybe they'll be a super duper person, but what about the next guy or the next gal? It's obvious to me these ordinances could easily be used by corrupt officials and wealthy businessmen to line their own pockets and fatten their own bank accounts, all at the expense and abuse of the taxpayers. Fellas, we have too much government already burdening us with unnecessary taxes and nonsensical laws. Enough is enough. As it's been stated already, keep your rules and regulations in the HOA, maybe in the city limits. The rest of us want you to mind your own business and leave us alone. Now, I still have a bit of time. I'm assuming I still have a bit of time. There are unintended consequences that these, and I'm sure you fellows have considered these. I hope you've considered them. It's already been stated, people could be rendered homeless. Now, maybe not, but it could happen. Yes, it could happen. There could be a loss of tax revenue from this. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
It is what it is. Thank
Martha Lake.
you.
She did. Do we have a Martha Lake? One more time, Martha Lake. Okay. Let's say Daryl Rose. Daryl Rose. Daryl Rose. Okay. The other way back.
Yeah, right on back. So everybody can see in here.
Yeah, and just behind there.
Right behind you. Sorry.
Okay, and your time now begins.
Okay. I ain't got a whole lot to say. I don't appreciate having to deal with this stuff. This is entirely dictatorship in my view. I don't agree with it. You all shoved the far fee down our throats. You gotta try to do this the same damn way. And I don't like it. And, you know, it's a shame about the fire fees that everybody else can get money for a fire company, fire department. It don't seem like Nettie can get any. And it's, you know, it's politics and stuff. I don't think I want anybody to come and get my stuff. So that's about all I got to say. I'll reserve my time to Pete Chapman.
Okay. We're not doing it. Pete Chapman?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tried.
Your 5 minutes begins.
I spouted off a little while ago. I'm sorry, I got a situation here. If nobody can hear me, I'm sorry. But I ain't got a whole lot to say. I'm against this 100%. I'm a disabled veteran. I served during the Vietnam thing. I did not serve in battle, but I sent a lot of boys there because I was a drill sergeant at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I remember those boys' faces today that never made it back. They were over there just a short while. We got a list of their names and everything. That's burdened me my whole life. Yes. It burdened me because I didn't go. But anyway, I'm against this deal because I believe in freedom. I have fought for freedom, and I'm going to stand for freedom. You three guys are three guys that we put in front of us for the people to handle this bullshit that we don't have time to. This sucker should have never been come before these people. You guys should have took care of this before it came. If you're a politician in Nicholas County and you don't know what these people are feeling, you're in the wrong damn business. So what I'm telling you is, if you all think you got a future sitting there on your butts telling us what to do, it's going to come to an end. I would advise you to go to the unemployment office and start looking for employment. But I'm against this thing, and if you stop and think about it, how about us go in your house and make sure that everything in that house is put in order so you don't trip and fall over nothing. There's got to be a stopping sign to this junk somewhere. And if you get away with this, it's no way you're going to tell us how high to mow our grass. What's next? It's got to stop, and it's got to stop now. Nip it in the bud. Boys, that's all I got to say. I hope this carries on.
Denzel Moore? Okay. Sandy Spencer? Sandy Spencer? Okay. Come up to the podium, please.
opportunity, and I believe your intentions are good, but we need to work out different language to make it more accessible to everyone. But I can't see my time in this person. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right.
Mr. James Murphy. Mr. James Murphy.
James Murphy.
And while James comes up, I'll just explain the procedure. Once an ordinance comes before the commission, and you know I'm against it, so I'm going to be the one to say this. Once you take up an ordinance to consider, you have to do the first reading, the second reading, the public comment, third reading, and then vote. And so by no means, I'll speak for them. My mind's made up, but I'm against it. I'm fairly sure these two guys are open-minded or have made their minds made up too. But that's why you can't just stop. You have to go through the process, and that's why we're here today. Mr. Murphy, you may begin.
First off, I'd like to thank the commission for the opportunity to come and speak.
Please respect Mr. Murphy's time.
And, I can probably shout louder than anybody in here if I wanted it. But that's not what I want to say won't take me 5 minutes. I'm an American, okay? I don't need the government to tell me to be safe, to be secure, to be sanitary. That responsibility falls on me, okay? I don't need somebody coming onto my property and telling me this and telling me that. Can you imagine if somebody showed up on George Washington's property and told him he needed to trim his cherry trees? Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm strongly against this ordinance especially in the way that it is written, okay? I don't believe that it benefits anybody in this county, at least not the private citizens. So I would like to urge you to vote against this ordinance. And if we look at it and can come up with ways to get funds with the property owner's agreement, the property owner seeks help from the commission to get these funds, that might be something to look at, what you offered. But in this ordinance, there's a lot of government overstepping. And there's a lot of opportunity, whether you intended it or not, for future commissions to use it nefariously against the citizens of Nicholas County, and I don't believe they will stand for it, okay? So, just my 2 cents worth is, vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Arnold Nicholas.
Go, Arnold, go.
Time may begin.
I don't pretend to know all the way everything's supposed to operate. But I grew up, and when I grew up in school, and I was taught that this was America. We were free. On the seal of this state, it says mountaineers are always free. But somewhere along the line, that's been forgotten. Government has got it's too far. You read this, and I read this and went over it, and my question is, and I heard what the commissioner said about the steps. How come the first reading wasn't published? How come the second reading wasn't? How come this wasn't published so that we as the people could look at it? You say you took it off of Webster County, fine. But put it out here where each and every one of us can look at it and know. I'm sure there could have been probably enough comment brought to you before this day ever happened. If it had just been made public, if it had just been put out there. You look at this and you look on the reuse agency, and everywhere it says vacant, abandoned, tax delinquent, vacant, abandoned, tax delinquent, vacated or abandoned, tax, right on down, all through. Every one of those, whereas, it's vacant, abandoned, tax delinquent. But yet when you go into the definitions and everything, it even got hunting stands on there, for heaven's sake. You know, and that you're gonna come in and people ain't asleep. I mean, my property might not suit somebody else. I might like that vegetation between me and the road to deaden noise. I might like that vegetation barrier between me and my neighbor so he ain't looking in my door all the time. You know, that old shed that Grandpa built that's kindly leaning a little, it might not meet New River Gorge's Asia, you know, whatever that fancy word is for looking pretty, but it suits me. It's mine. If you go out to the Underwood Cemetery, there's 2 headstones out there that every time I go, every time elections come up, every time whatever, when I'm out there mowing, you know, and I got elections coming and whatever, and I'd like to quit. That's how disheartened I am with some of the government we got. I'd like to just write it off. But when I go out there to mow that graveyard, there's a headstone for a young man that never reached 20 years of age. He gave his life over in Korea so that I could have the right to come here today and speak. There's one right beside it. His 26-year-old brother gave his life over in North Africa, was never found, he was never brought home, but he gave his life so that every one of us could come here today respectfully to one another, respectfully to this commission, and speak our piece.
That's a beautiful thing, man.
And here's the thing. Here's the bottom line. You all were elected to do a job. And one of the things that was said, I believe that you all should be more open, and I believe that you should take care of a lot of this stuff. I mean, guys, really? Really? For the citizens of Nicholas County? Really? You know, a lot of this stems, you know, the development for we want to look pretty for all the tourists. They drive through or they spend a little while spending money. And that's the bottom line, dollars. That's the bottom line. They drive through and I'm about done. But anyway.
52 seconds.
But anyway, here's the thing. My place is mine. If they want to come by from Oregon or France or Italy and drive up Whitewater and look at my place as it is, as it suits me, come on, guys, and spend your money. But if you don't, stay on 39 or stay on 19 and drive that way. That way I won't bother. Thank you.
Roger Hypes. Okay. Thank you.
How do you get to speak?
Sign in.
How do you get to speak?
Be here by sign in.
We shut that down. Huh? We shut that down. 10:38. We stopped. I done told 2 people that.
We shut it down?
10:38. Yep. Oh. 10:38. We went in almost an extra 10 minutes letting people sign in.
Well, this is a public meeting, and we have something to say, and since some of them has not stood up, we should be able to take their place, correct?
What do you guys think?
Cool.
Thank you.
Does that say Keith Russell? Kenneth Russell? Or Keith Russell? I'm not real sure.
Right here.
Okay. Janet Mansfield?
I'd just like to say thank you guys for allowing us to do this, and I'm nervous because I don't normally do stuff like this, but first, I want to thank God that we do live in a free country. Second off, I want to say, I don't agree with this, the way it's worded. I don't agree with Webster's. I don't agree with this one. But at the same time, I'd also like to say, I think that we could all come together and have solutions to the problem, because I know myself, and I'm not bragging to say this, but how many's went out there and picked up trash? How many? I have. How many's went to the storefronts, because storefronts look so bad, and asked them to sweep the floor, sweep out in front of them? And I was told, oh no, you can't do that. That's against our policy. Why? Why? If we can help, why not? You know, that's what I'm saying. If we are in here and we want things to change, we need to help change it. And screaming and yelling and all this stuff is not going to help anything. We need to be about changing what we can change, and we can do that as a community. But we got to help each other. And I'm getting up there in age, so that I can do some stuff, and I know there's some that can't. And that's some of the people that I'm concerned about with this thing, because some people are so bad off that they can't do anything to their properties. They can't. But you know what? If you can pick up trash, if you can sweep the storefront, if you can go help an elderly person, if you can, of course I know there's codes and stuff, and there's asbestos in older homes and stuff, so, you know, that has to be done professionally, but we can help as a community. We can help to do this. So try not to be too discouraged, but I don't agree with this either. So just let you know, and I'm donating my time. Anybody that wants to come up here and speak?
Thank you. Kathleen Rose. Or Kathleen Ross. Okay. That's right. Bernie Ross. Bernie Ross. Okay. Wayne Acord. Oh, I'm sorry. If you don't mind. He's not speaking. Just for public record, he's not speaking. Okay. Ricky Schaefer. Ricky Schaefer.
He just left, he got a funeral.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. Matthew Paul. Is that him? If you don't mind, for the mic, just for the media. Yes, sir.
People can't be this dumb to think that this ordinance is a good idea. People cannot be that dumb. People cannot sit here and let them pass an ordinance that's going to futurely take away your rights. We have human rights as citizens of the United States. If we let this ordinance pass, that goes against the 4th and 14th Amendment. These officers up here will have the right to come on your property and search it without just cause, just because one of these guys said it was okay. That's against your 4th Amendment of the Constitution. Who will stand for that? Who will sit down and let them pass an ordinance that'll go against your 4th Amendment Constitution? Who will let them pass an ordinance that'll go against your 14th Amendment of the Constitution? The 14th Amendment says these guys can't seize your property without the law saying they can. Without a lawful order, they can't take your property. With this ordinance, they can. They can seize your property, they can sell it, which they will. They say tax dollars will pay for this, but there's no tax dollars in Nicholas County going to pay for this. It's going to be your property paying for it. It's going to be your children suffering, because when you pass that property down to them and they decide to take it, it's going to be your children, your family suffering.
Now, if you guys want your family to suffer, don't care about the Constitution, you guys go ahead, sign this bill, this ordinance, which I don't even think our words here are going to matter. They've proven to be tyrants, everyone. Everyone. They trespass somebody from a public building for speaking and wanting to file a grievance against one of them. And they trespass you. That's a First Amendment Constitution. Protected activity. File a grievance against your public officials. They trespass me for it. I want to file a grievance against one of y'all. Hey, look, we'll arrest you for creating a disturbance if you do this. This is how unofficial they are. You guys elected these guys in. I didn't want him in there. I didn't want Johnny Evans, the one that threatened me with arrest if I went through with any complaint against Michael Cox. Didn't want him in there, so vote against him. Okay? Gary Roberts, good guy, stand up guy. Okay? What if he's for this bill? He's not for the Constitution. This ordinance. Can't speak for the rest of you guys. This guy here at the end, real estate person. You don't think he's not going to benefit from this? You don't think he's not going to gain money from this? You guys are fools who think no. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Diane Kreitz? Okay, not speaking. Nancy Dorsey?
Here.
Okay.
Hello, I was born and raised in Richwood. I left after high school. I've been out of the state. I've lived out of the country. I've come back, put a new little small store in Richwood, an antique store, an art store, and we're trying to make it. Richwood's trying to make it. I can see some good points of this and some bad points of this, okay? The wording has got to be cleared because people with barns and outbuildings don't need them pretty. On the other side, I can see that we would greatly appreciate federal help to tear down the homes that you can see the ceilings falling in on. They're dilapidated along the main street going into Richwood, and it's an eyesore not only for the community, but for anybody who might possibly want to move to Richwood. It's a deterrent. And the owners live out of state. There are druggies in the house, and it's dilapidated. There needs to be a specific label for dilapidation, though. It has to be specific. You can't just say, oh, this old person's home doesn't look good, so we're going to take it down, okay? We also have some elderly people who need a paint job. They can't do it. They don't have the money to do it. The houses would greatly benefit from it. The city would benefit from it. The town, you know, the traffic, anybody coming in, it would help the looks. Now, as far as cleaning up property, you know, if you've got trash in your yard, pick it up. If the police say, you know, your yard looks trashy from the road, pick it up. But if you've got a farm back in the middle of nowhere, but you can't see it from the road and you have to get on the property to see it, it's nobody's business. I'm just talking about, you know, public scene areas could be just pick up your trash, people. That's all. Be decent. Be proud. This is a beautiful state. I appreciate it more now coming back than I did when I was growing up. But people have got to take pride in their own things. Now, there are people that can't do it, and this is what this should be for and why the wording needs changed. The people that cannot do it themselves, the elderly that don't have the money to do this themselves, they know they'd like to have that big pile gone. We're not talking about grown weeds. The world is full of weeds. We're talking about trash and toxic chemicals. Now, toxic chemicals are a definite must must be taken out properly, must be cleaned up because the earth has got to be preserved. Okay, well then if it's already things to take care of that, then we don't need it duplicated. But this thing that they're trying to bring might just help cities like, or towns like mine that have got buildings falling in and the person can't afford to tear the building down.
You already have it.
Just countries?
You already have it in Richwood. You have the same ordinance already in place.
Okay, but at the same time, we have a country home. And like I said, if you don't like the looks of my barn, don't drive the half mile out to see my barn. But if it's on the road and there's trash blowing all along the road, yeah, that's an eyesore to everybody. It shouldn't be, and people need to, you know, Smokey used to come to the schools and tell people not to litter and not to do forest fires and stuff. There needs to be littering taught to the children again. Nobody's teaching the children anything. Well, that's true. The parents are both working, the kids go to school, the schools are not allowed to teach them but certain stuff, and that's a shame. But something's got to be changed here, and the wording of taking over, people are afraid of losing their places because it's not pretty. That shouldn't be a fear. It should be deliberately written out methodically so that all of this is safe.
Roy Murphy. Roy Murphy.
Well, first off, I'd just like to say that this is not something that I'm for, more overreach, period. I voted for some of you guys. I don't vote for this in this manner, okay? This is, once the writing is on the paper, and if this comes to pass, then it's set in stone. But we want to call public safety, or property safety. There's a lot of things out here in Nicholas County that are as much danger than what these ordinances are here. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you one example, and I'm going to cut it off. I have been trying for 4 years, maybe 5 years, to get some of these trees cut back off the roads down through here because I'm sick and tired at 4 o'clock in the morning going to work, driving up and down 39, driving down up and down Route 16, and you're dodging tree limbs. Whose property is that? Where those 2 lanes is, whose property is that? States, right? Well, this is just a division of the state, the county. There are a lot of things that can be done, state, county, and otherwise, besides all this legal mumbo jumbo that's in this paperwork that once, if it goes through, there's no turning back after that. A lot of things in here doesn't make any sense to me except some backdoor activity, under the table deals. Whether it's going on or not, you can always speculate that. And that's all I got to say. Defer it to somebody else.
Terry Clark. Terry Clark. Okay. Yes, thank you. Vic Blankenship.
A lot of what I have to say has already been said, so I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Being a country boy from Hominy Falls, my farm that I grew up on is a mile from my nearest neighbor. I see a lot of people in here I know that live kind of rural like I do, and half of my family. I feel like this ordinance and this what do they call it, the LRA, I already dealt with them in Fayette County. They ain't what you fellas think. I promise you that. Okay? This ordinance is an overreach of power
It may have started with good intentions, but it's an overreach of power. And it's aiming direct, you all already have ordinances in town for these dilapidated buildings, do you not?
The city does.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So leave us country boys alone. These farms, from here to the Greenbrier County line, you won't see very many of them that don't have, which is listed in these definitions, a storage trailer, or maybe even an old school bus, because you all know what they buy in Fort County auctions, a little bit of nothing. They store their square bales and their feed and stuff in them. These farmers ain't rich people, folks. Look at what you got here. Once this stuff gets started, it stretches just like a road. There's, like I said, a lot of my points have already been beaten to the ground. The part in there, in one of your definitions, as a dwelling that can be torn down, tree houses, deer blinds, storage sheds. Come on, y'all. I mean, that pole barn over there on my farm was built nearly 50 years ago. My brother and my dad and me, and the old man built that. And if it leans a little bit, I don't care. And the only people it's endangering is me and mine. And I guarantee you they're smart enough not to go into it if there's 3 foot of snow on top. You know what I'm saying? I don't live in town. If you live in town, you expect homeowners associations and town ordinances. I get it. If I had a $300,000 home and Joe Schmo over here had 15 junk cars and 2 trash piles and 29 dogs right beside me, I wouldn't like him. I mean, him would have words, we'd probably have bloody knuckles. Okay? But I don't live in town. And this is aimed for the country folks. It says county-wide in there. And we're asking you all, as our elected officials, to turn this down. And this land reuse agency, we got no use for them if we don't have any use for this. Okay? Furthermore, I hear them talking in here about the hazardous waste. Somebody spoke on that, Nancy spoke on that. Okay? You got DEP for that? Yeah. You got the DNR? And I'll tell you what, I have been a part to some huge hunting leases in Nicholas, Greenbrier, and Fayette County. You know who cleans up the trash piles? The DNR has a program they call REAP. And they're slow moving. They are slow moving. But I'm telling you, one word that'll get fire under their stove is if you let them know there's old tires there. Because those tires are a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Right. The same type of mosquitoes that carry encephalitis, meningitis, and that is a health hazard. Nobody needs that. Most of us here probably old enough to have kids and grandkids. We understand that. But these organizations are already in place. So instead of what I feel like, and I'm sure most of y'all are agreeing because I hear a lot of clapping, it's coming after the little man who's doing good to pay his bills and his taxes now anyways. How about we rattle these other people's chains? And we keep hearing about government money that can help tear down these dilapidated structures. That's exactly right. And where's government money come from? Right here. And the taxpayers' dollars. And I understand their grants. I get it. But I just think we don't want this to get started. That property belongs to me, my family, just like everybody else around here. Most of the hands they're laying down. You pay your taxes on it, it belongs to you. Like I said, in town, it's understandable, but in the country, that's all I got to say. Y'all can hear questions.
Lyle Neal.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say, but the first thing I want to do is this land reuse garden. What that amounts to, we've already got laws in our state that we've had for many years. If your neighbor loses his property to foreclosure, tax, whatever, you as a neighbor have first refusal to buy his property. Now they're wanting to take this right away from you. I mean, that's all this crap amounts to. And all these people from Fayette County, if we would go ahead and take care of our business in our county and leave Fayette County across the river, we'd be a lot better off. And the second thing here on this land stuff, I kindly understand some of it, and this is only my opinion. Now, we have guys coming to our land sales now that bringing big money. The last sale, I think one young man bought over $600,000 worth of property in Nicholas County. Well, we have people that don't want that. So that's partly the reason we have this crap here, is to stop it. I mean, and Garrett, and I got respect for all three of these guys. I mean, my only thing is, I voted and they were elected to take care of our county, the problems we had, not create them. I mean, this ain't nothing, and I understand, I was there in their position one time.
Hey,
Somebody comes in.
To protect any of us.
But
Protect these guys.
But somebody comes in with an idea, you do have to address it. Just like he told you, you got to address it. But some of this crap here is created by these three fellows.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing of it is, I'm all against this, and Roberts made the statement there that there was probably some people here for personal matters. I kind of feel that he was pointing that in my direction. Ben's eye was the one that got this shit started. But anyway, I think that we have enough problems in our county that they can stay busy taking care of business rather than this. Webster County passed this ordinance, and I'll guarantee you that it was sitting up there somewhere in the basement and there wasn't but 3 people there. I mean, that's just the way it is. They're in Camden-on-Golly right now tearing down a building. I know the girl that the mayor up there, and I'm sure that she has coordinated it with the county. They didn't come into her town and do it because it is a town. Camden-on-Golly was established in the early 1900s as a corporation. You're not going to go in there and just tell them what to do. But I want to know, and I hope every one of you feel the same way I do, I am totally 100% against this stuff. Garrett, Craig, I mean, boys, there ain't no way. I mean, it's this year. I'm getting to be an old man. My farm's not as nice as it used to be. I've got 97 acres right up every side of 55. That's right, but I'm telling you one thing. If I get down and they take it, I got the prettiest house developed in Nicholas County, all the way along 55. Gary put on there the first place he wanted to clean up was Route 55. Well, that's where I live. And I'll agree. I'll agree that we have some places up there. Me and my boys has tore down several houses up there to help clean it up for free, and I'll say that. And if they want to do anything, rather than hire 4 or 5 people paying them $40,000, $50,000 a year, take $2,500 and go up there and offer to help somebody clean their house up. I mean, let's just get real. Now, I'm a contractor. If they give $2,500 and the bill's $5,000, I'll give another $500. So that makes the landowner doing $2,000 job. That's where you are to be, not this stupid, idiotical stuff. Absolutely. I'm telling you, you could go in the sewer and found better stuff than this. This is awful. And the cleanup. I mean, not to get nasty. I don't want to get nasty. I just want you to know my opinion. This is law and deal. What are we going to do? We're going to take the property. Yeah. Now, then what we're going to do? We're going to mow it and we're going to put something on it, and then we're going to resell it. Well, you go up here to the land auction right now, or any auction. You go up here, a piece of property that's got $200 worth of taxes against it. Now, most usually somebody's there, they'll give $1,500, $3,000, $4,000 for that. Now, that money goes to the county. Thank you very much. I didn't mean to step on nobody's toes, but thank you.
Chris Neal.
I hate speaking in front of people, and I hate being videotaped worse than that. That will let you know my disgust for having to come down here over this thing. I'm not very smart, but don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining. Now, I listened to you read this the other night when I watched your meeting. And it didn't take me but about 2 seconds to tell that this wasn't nothing but a bunch of crap. Now, maybe you had to do something with it. Maybe you have to have your 3 readings. You could have probably denied it before it ever got started.
That's right. That's right. They didn't have rain for us.
Before I come down here, I took my time to go around and check just a few things. Right after my dad got voted out, you and Mr. Chapman went to the Nicholas County Park where you all were there. There's an old building down on the end of it. You badmouthed my dad. You had what's-his-face come in amongst the commission and tell what a lowlife he was, and this old building has fallen down, and that's been almost 5 years ago. It's all the way down like you're going to the dog pound. Well, the damn thing's still sitting there, and that's been 4 years, or 5. If you go up here before you go into magistrate court, the damn sidewalks are falling apart. You got orange cones sitting in front of it now because I'm about to break my neck on it a month or 2 ago when I walked in there. You go up to the courthouse, it's patched together, looks like hell. You go around behind the courthouse, there's power wires there, runs through conduit with the ends knocked off of it. It looks to me like you 3 got enough damn business to take care of your own damn stuff rather than worry about what I do up there on my place. As far as the land tax thing, when you take money and put it in a fishbowl, and you take that money out and put it back in the fishbowl, you didn't gain anything. So as far as our county buying this land, it ain't going to benefit our county one bit. It's just some underhanded way for somebody, maybe you or somebody else, to weasel around and sell that property for a fraction of what we give for it to some of your damn buddies. That's the same damn thing that happens all over this damn country. And the shit, they don't need to work here in Nicholas County. I didn't vote for nary 3 of you, don't care to tell you. I did vote for you, Johnny. And I probably won't vote for you the next time. But you don't have to be very smart. And you know, there's another thing. I've heard all this, well, your neighbor's trash. And, you know, I learned a long time ago that not everybody likes to live like I do. If somebody wants to live in a damn cardboard box, if they pay their taxes on the damn thing, don't bother me one bit. That's their business. What's in their yard's their business. I don't want to look at it. I don't have to look that direction. Have a nice day, and I thank you.
Jared Lyons. Okay. Patrick Hamner. Or Hammonds? Okay. Roger Green. And while Roger Green comes up, legal counsel, do I have a conflict being involved in this ordinance?
Absolutely not.
Can I as a county commissioner, as a real estate agent, list property for the county?
No.
Have I?
No.
Thank you, sir. You may begin.
Well, this is the first time that I've ever been to a situation like this. But I spent my life enforcing laws and regulations in this state. And if there's one thing I know about, that is weasel words. These 2 documents are full of weasel words. Those words are words that can be interpreted by different people at different times for different things. That's exactly what these 2 ordinances do. And if you gentlemen have eyes to see and ears to hear, then you know that your option is to do away with these 2 ordinances. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Jenny or Terry? Phone number's 304-703-2978. Okay. What's that one? Terry Rodeball. Terry Rodeball. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Everybody, please respect Mr. Rodeball's time.
Look around us. We've got people that believe in something, they've worked for something, and we ought to be respectful of their feelings. I'd like to know who's on the New River agent, the group, the New River.
It's a 5-county agency.
It's a 5-county agency, and how many members are on that? Is there members?
13.
13 members? Do you know who they are, or?
Get them for it.
I'd like to see who they are. Okay.
I sit on that.
Do you
I
sit on?
represent Nicholas County.
Okay.
And there's 2 others from
I know everybody, I know how we feel, how my family feels about our property, and it's been generational. It's been in our family for a long time. And I know we need to start helping out our neighbors sometimes. I think that might, and I know that the DEP has organizations and the REAP program. I think if maybe we could reach out to those folks, that they would, that could help a situation here too. I just wanted to say thank you again, but we need to, we are voicing our opinions, and we want to be heard. Thank you.
Is there a Becky S? I'm sorry, I can't read your last name. Small, maybe? Becky Small? Anyone named Becky want to speak? Okay. Gary Workman? Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Tim Painter?
Can I say something while he's making his way to the podium?
You gotta respect everybody's time, I'm sorry.
He gave up. He gave
Oh,
up. Go ahead.
you didn't use your own time. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you keep mentioning this Webster County ordinance. I work with 4 men from Webster County. I just left them so I could come to this meeting. All 4 of those guys did not believe that they had this ordinance in Webster County because they didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's some of the same situations you can see going on in other counties besides just Webster and Nicholas, where this stuff's coming underneath, and not all the citizens are aware of it, because I work with 4 that don't even know that they have this.
You are? Tim Painter. Tim Painter, yes, sir.
Come on, Tim.
I want to thank Mr. Hypes. He's already addressed a lot of the issues that I had with this. The only remaining issue that I have that I haven't heard brought up was that I question, you have acknowledged that you copied part of this code from the state code and borrowed some from other counties. And it leads me to believe that you could have done something with the wording prior to submitting it for a vote, prior to letting it get to where we're at right now.
And I'll pause your time, but just a point of order. Webster County took state code and prepared their ordinance accordingly. And we found Webster County was this code compliant version that we could consider. And so that's where we ended up where we are, and I'll resume your time.
But we do have the authority to go back and reword this, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So my point is, why didn't you do that before proceeding with it? Why didn't you take the language out of it?
To hear the public.
All right.
I'm already against it, but to hear the public too.
It seems like if it was if you recognize the fact that it is overreaching, overbearing, that you should have changed it prior to presenting it to us. That's my only point. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Anderson. Okay. Delegate Heather Tolley.
My name is Delegate Heather Tully. I live at 1829 Webster Road, Summersville, West Virginia, Nicholas County resident. One of the biggest problems that with this, these two proposed ordinances are the lack of transparency. There is no transparency coming from this commission because there are no meeting agendas nor there are meeting minutes posted to any type of website. You have to go down and get them from the county commission, and you actually have to make requests. I think that is very backward in this modern day and time. The ordinance wasn't even posted online or on a website for anyone to view. You had to go down and get them from the county commission. So I think that number one is problematic. I've even had to FOIA the budget. In January 2021, I wanted some budget information from the county commission regarding the county budget. I had to FOIA that information. And so I know some of you all were not serving at that point in time, so please know that it doesn't pertain to you, but it does pertain to the ones that are presently serving. It's my understanding, and I requested the agendas for the last 6 months, that the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority has never been before the commission to make a presentation. And then it was also stated that it came from the New River Gorge Development Authority, or we changed some things from the Webster County Ordinance, and nobody really knows what to believe. People don't trust you to be able to enact some of these sorts of things. I'm going to talk a little bit about West Virginia Senate Bill 368, which did pass in July of 2021. It merely allowed counties to work with the DEP and provided and actually we did not fund it that first year. It just provided an account to be able to go forward with funding. May and shall are two different contexts in legal language. And so what you put forth in these ordinances is nothing compared to what is contained. It is nothing like what is in state code. It was state code was very permissive. You may do this, you may do that, but it didn't say you shall, and that's what you are trying to use the force of law and the force of the word shall to compel all of these people to do things that they do not want to do with their own property. Furthermore, when the agency, which would be the DEP, came back through legislative rulemaking review related to that bill, you had 33 CSR 16. There were none of these specific things contained in this ordinance in that rules bundle that came through. As a matter of fact, that rules bundle strictly prohibits the use of the funding through the grant for soil sampling, which is absolutely contained in your ordinance. So I don't know who failed to read the rules bundle, but apparently somebody has some reading comprehension issues somewhere. I heard the word code compliant used. Well, I hate to tell you. Let's go through the, I'm going to start with the property safety ordinance first. County resident. Well, nobody knows who a county resident is because it refers to Nicholas and Webster, so search and replace is a great thing if you're smart enough to use it, but apparently somebody wasn't. County health officer, that term is not anywhere in state code. That correct term in state code is local health officer, and the definition does not meet the approved definition that probably was changed since Webster County drafted the ordinance. However, apparently you didn't consult with legal counsel to change those words, as some of you stated on social media that you did. The term dilapidated contains the word shabby. What is the definition of that? What may be shabby to me may not be shabby to you. Again, page 4 of your safety ordinance, it talks about a refrigerator with a locking handle. Are you coming to my house to inspect my refrigerator? Motor home. If you are, that's very problematic. It also talks about the owner has the burden to demonstrate that the device, talking about like a vehicle can transport and this and that. The burden of proof should never be on the person this is absolutely backwards. The burden of proof should not be on the owner. It should be on you to prove your case if you're filing the paperwork against the owner.
Amen.
Also, the rules of evidence do not have to be respected in regard to any of the hearings here. So you're telling me you can come in, somebody can come in and use hearsay, well, I heard this was on his or her property or this or that, and they can come in and just say whatever they want, or I heard from this person that this, and this went on. No, that's inappropriate. Oh, let's see here. It talks about finding facts. Well, how can you find facts if you're not using the rules of evidence as set forth by the West Virginia State Code and really the practice of law in West Virginia? I'm not an attorney, but there's some folks that are. I have a couple of things. I'm going to give you a set of papers to append to your... Oh.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, Tyler, I'm going to say it here. You can speak for me whenever he calls my name. I want to hear the rest of what you got to say.
Thank you.
Daniel Moon. I can't hear what she said. What'd you say? Say that one more time.
I said I'd like to know how Delegate Colley voted on land reuse and property safety.
Delegate Tolley voted on April 10th of 2021 for the bill that created the funding to go along with Code Section 7133 to put funding behind this code section.
What happens to the money? Like you said that, my understanding is with this that it falls down here. What do you do with that?
It's a reimbursement of the cost of tearing down a dilapidated home. There's no extra money.
Where does that money come from?
The state and federal government, including,
Isn't that what the grant money is for?
yes.
And
But
so
the-
you're
but
double
an or-
dipping
no,
by
an ordinance-
them
an ordinance is
selling their
required.
property and reimbursing.
You don't
Isn't
have,
that
it's
double
one or
dipping?
the other. It's not.
Sure sounds like it.
Thank you. As requested, the next speaker is who's that? Judy Hitt or Hill.
County needs to do is buy intercom to where man can hear people.
Lawrence Tolley.
I'd like to voice my opposition to this ordinance as proposed. 6 years ago, Commissioner Cole came to my home. We supported him in that election. He espoused public service. Ever since, we have seen nothing but self-service. The very integrity of our government is at stake here right now. Guided by the codes of conduct for elected officials, the majority of our commission and council are conflicted. They are to recuse themselves from anything, so the situation is moot. We've seen millions of dollars in transactions to one place, and to one place only in Nicholas County. No questions, they're pushed right through the city and the county. Nobody wants to live next to a bad structure or dilapidated structure. I have things laying around. Commissioner Chapman probably has things laying around. Everybody else has things laying around. But it's theirs. They own it. They pay taxes on it. They take care of it. As long as it doesn't present a danger. We are witnessing a corruption of which we've never seen for years. we're witnessing when it's presented to officials in Charleston as political corruption, all for greed and to get more property or to get something else. Now, if you're going to clean up dilapidated structures and pay for them, why don't you clean up the ones you just bought and you're about to assume? Or maybe you should take that money and pay deputy sheriffs a rightful salary that they deserve.
I'm going to pause Mr. Tolley's time and a point of order. These are federal funds. There's no county money even proposed to be spent on this ordinance.
These conflictions in office require resignation or removal from office or assumption of office. Thank you.
For a point of order, legal counsel, do I have a conflict on this ordinance once again?
No.
Does any commissioner on this commission have an ordinance conflict?
Absolutely not.
Okay. We're not lawyers, but we have one.
Anyone has questions on that, they can contact Attorney John Rouse, the General Commission on West Virginia Ethics.
Yes, sir.
Charleston.
Anybody needs phone numbers, you can give them.
Jason Butcher.
I'd like to do my time.
Is the commission going to provide time or not? Commissioner Roberts?
Everybody gets 5 minutes.
If he comes up here and sits, I'll stay.
Well, I'll abstain because I'm a target, but if you all want to decide that.
Just come.
You're supposed to hash that out at the 9 o'clock meeting.
Well, I'm back. Thank you so much for ceding your time to me. I have some, since we're doing so much discussion about legal counsel, I do have a question. Mr. Tucker sits as legal counsel for this county commission. However, it's kind of interesting that there are business registrations within the Secretary of State that absolutely detail the service of process and affiliations with the LaRose family, which would be a direct conflict with any type of business transacted. In fact, your very own Facebook post here, probably from his last campaign in 2014, or the preceding campaign for Senate, shows he's with Mid-State Automotive Group. That's been posted by the Nicholas County Veterans Memorial Park, which is a subsidiary of this very entity and this very county commission. So I think there's a very big conflict. I see Mr. Vaughn sitting there. He's always been a respectable attorney in this county, but I kind of wonder, I've never seen him come to a county commission meeting, so I kind of wonder why he is sitting here next to Councilor Tucker.
Well, let me address that. I haven't been with Mid-State since 2016. I'm not affiliated with them. I do not represent Mid-State.
It's not your time to speak. Who's paying you to be here?
County Commissioner.
And so I think it really makes it very difficult to tell who is the client and how the conflict was weighed for you, Counselor.
No conflict.
Allegedly. I'm going to have you append a couple of things to the minutes. This is Senate Bill 368. This is the rules bundle. And then also I have a section that also details some of the questionable conflicts in business affiliations as well. Thank you.
Denny Hanshaw. Okay. George Legg. George Legg. One more time for George Legg. Okay. Mary Neff. Mary Neff.
Gary, you go to order down that list and skip my brother. He was right below me.
State your name, please.
Robert Blankenship, number 2 on that paper. Just before Lyle Neal.
Okay, you didn't put your full name, but state your full name.
I put R.
What's your full name?
Robert.
Robert Blankenship. Okay, if you please come forward.
Well, this young lady and a few other people finally highlighted on it anyway. To start with, I'd like to know why this meeting was done during the middle of the day when most people, other than retired people and other people that don't work right now, would have to miss a day's worth of work.
This is a regular scheduled commission meeting.
Well, so this meeting would always be at this time.
First and third Wednesdays at 9 a.m.
Kind of makes it hard for a working person to stay especially the ones that are probably trying to put the squeeze on the starter. I definitely agree with Roger as well. I'm not gonna disagree that certain things need done. We also have stuff already in place. I mean, the homes and stuff in Ridgewood, the sidewalks. Matter of fact, I was up there when you took a new piece of property, and then I get down here and I understand it's condemned. Who's gonna pay for all that?
It's not condemned.
What property?
They fix the issues in the bank thing?
No.
First Community Bank.
BB&T.
The one that was just given this morning, I believe somebody that was in this room that's still in here told me outright that there was issues in that building.
I abstained from that appointment, so I'm not sure.
That being said, I would like to know who the six-figure man is that's gonna do this job. Because when you start going through the old homes and the electrical and everything, I worked for a place that owned 60 properties, 70 actually when I quit, all in historic districts. That requires quite a bit of knowledge on all of that to see what it does and doesn't need done.
That's gonna be used for a veterans building.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that. I'm a vet. No issue with that. I'm just curious about that. And as far as, is there somebody already in line? I mean, I'm reading in here where you might send a county officer and stuff on some of this stuff. Who's qualified? That's what I'm asking. Who's qualified to even do the things that are gonna be done to make sure that there's not feces in somebody's barn up the road? I mean, like they said, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Yeah, I agree with some of it, but there's an awful lot of junk in it. You're admitting it. If it can be redone, there are certain things I would agree to in all of it. But most of it's in an area where you have problems and already have laws for it. I can take you across from Mount Lookout, and as long as that guy's junk's not all over Old Nicholas Road, because I go to Hominy Falls, I don't give what his property looks like at all. But in the meantime, when it mentions feces and certain things in there, you've got two lawyers right there that says that opens it up at any time. From the kid's tree house to the leaning barn that my 70-year-old buck can't take care of. So who are you running out anyway? The older people.
That's exactly right.
Then you're talking options on property. I've sat in these tax sales. I've been in there when people bought property and then got turned right around and got given paperwork not long afterwards. Oh, by the way, there's asbestos in that school you just bought. And that came from people. It's funny that you can turn around and turn it over to somebody else and then all of a sudden say, hey, you take care of it. But in the meantime, who's correcting now? You've been passing it off. I mean, hell, we're still waiting on school. I got a granddaughter that goes regular for therapy for her back because she's got no place to put a 50-pound bag. Definitely need to look at other things other than what y'all been looking at. I'm sorry for taking y'all's time.
Thank you. Okay.
Sir, you might want to.
Your turn,
Nah, I think everybody's covered. What I
And
have
I
to
went
say.
home and I never got called.
Is that? Say your name again.
Francis Meadows.
Your middle initial S?
That's
Yeah,
Beverly.
that's it.
That's my
Beverly,
sister.
that's her sister.
Okay. I have you Beverly after Terry Roadball. But that's okay, yes, if you'd like to come up to the podium. Well, yeah. Well, it actually says it right there.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes.
I just want to say, I'm 5 foot and I don't look like much, but you're looking at 300 years here. I'm the great-great-granddaughter of Bill Bandy Mullins, who died at 110. He was born and raised in Nicholas County. My granddad fought in World War I in the cavalry. My dad died 100 years old. He was born and bred in Nicholas County. I'm 63 years old. I'm not a veteran, but I'm a coal miner, and I worked there for 23 years underground. I've got a little farm up on the end of Far Tower Road. It's not much. My barn don't look like much, but it's mine. I worked for it, every bit of it. And I know that your all's intent might not have been of what you're getting accused of, okay? But intent is there. And we've got to be careful about words that we put on paper because your all's predecessors might not read it the way you read it, and then we're stuck with it. And I'm sure I'm sorry goes a long ways, but it don't when they're moving me out in the street. And I've worked hard for mine, and I'm going to keep it. And it's just like this. When there's other programs in place, and I worked close with the West Virginia DEP, and my job was environmental coordinator, and I had inspectors on me like hounds, okay? So I know the good, bad, and the ugly on the DEP. And they would love to come here and work. What you need to do on your first reading, okay? And I'm not pointing fingers, because God knows I probably would have done it too. But that 9-page document that you said, you don't want me to read all of this to you. No, sir, you should have read it all the way through. You should have never voted aye without reading it from 1 to 9. And you should have never have put it through there with all of this stuff that is written in there without putting out public notice saying, please, make your opinions known. You could have saved all of this time. Then people wouldn't think that you was trying to put a blinder over their face. Because Bill Bandy Mullins was the first man they said that ever rode, and I'm saying this, but I'm not cussing, a jackass to the Civil War and came back with a black stallion. Well, what you got, guys, in this ordinance, it's the jackass. Now we need to work for the stallion. Okay? We've got issues. We all agree on it. I'm not for this. I am not for this at all. And I'm not for going behind the back doors and dragging stuff in to throw honest, hard-working people out. Especially the widow women that's been widowed for 35 years and can't afford roofs. And just because she's parked on 55, somebody says you need a roof and she gets hung up with the bill. I'm not for that in any means. My dad said, what a man does on his property is his business. If you don't like it, don't look. That's all fine. But if it's causing hazardous waste or it's causing a danger to the community, that's a different horse of a different color. That needs to be addressed. The West Virginia DEP, sir, it is my moment. The West Virginia DEP has rules and regulations in place to take care of this. And on your all said you was going to appoint a beautification of Nicholas County Committee. Do that. Put them in charge of filling the paperwork out for the DEP and the DNR. If they're lacking, stay on their hind ends. Call them. Say, you're on mine when we had coal mines open. Now I'm on yours to get down here and get this stuff done. Stay on them. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I'm just telling you right now, guys, I wouldn't be in your place for $1 million right now. You've been accused of a lot of stuff, just or unjust, okay? But dot your T's and cross your I's. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just telling you, we're not at the black stallion thing yet. But let's work at it, okay? Now that's it. This is a DEP inspector. You see how we handle things?
Speaking of, Virgil Groves. You want to speak? Okay. Who?
I just agree with what you said, 100%.
Very good.
Hey, Garrett, as the lady just previously stated, I completely agree. With that being said, several people have already stated today that we have the UP and the DNR and these places already in place. With that being said, I'm not promoting any ill intentions of any of you three gentlemen. But I think I can speak for everybody sitting here. It does look suspicious, sir, that at that point, though, you don't control that. You don't control the DNR. You don't control the DEP. So I think that looks to some consideration.
Are you David Moore? I'm sorry, I don't have you on the record, but I'll place you.
I was right, but my name is directly under Heather Cullis. My writing, you may not be able to read it when the ink dries,
Yes,
but it's
sir.
plain and legible.
Yes, sir. I see it. I could not read it, but go ahead.
5 minutes, you can't cover everything, brief statement. The number of people here today in opposition to this ordinance shows that you know nothing about the people of this county that you're supposed to be representing. If you truly understood and knew the people you're supposed to represent, this ordinance would have never been proposed. You seem to only know those who have influence over you. The inadequate notification of a meeting of this importance to the citizens of this county and other such meetings, like concerning the fire fee, should rate more than a 2 or 3 lines buried in a local newspaper. Also, I found nothing on the Commission's Facebook page or website. We live in a day where we have amber alerts, silver alerts, severe weather alerts, and automated phone calls with boil water advisories. If you wanted to, you could ensure that the majority of the citizens of this county knew when a meeting of this importance was taking place. The lack of such attempts at notifying citizens gives the impression that you don't want us to know what you're doing. As to the structures on private land deemed to be unsafe for public safety or welfare, think about that for a minute. The public should not be on private land. This is a violation of existing no trespassing laws. I have my property and the property of which I am the legal caretaker of all posted, no trespassing. As it's been said, by the way, it's my land. The state did not give it to me. The county did not give it to me. You don't rent or lease it, it is mine. Stay off my property. As to how the property looks pertaining to vegetation, again, it's private property. Not everyone wants to live in a storybook community. We live there because we don't want the aggravation and invasion of others. Not all people want to live like others. The Declaration of Independence guarantees citizens the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the pursuit of happiness is different for each and every individual. Trying to force everyone to live the same way is tyranny. If you don't like how my property looks, the buildings I have, the brush on my property that gives me some privacy, take another route or don't look. Mr. Cole, apparently your real estate agency represents the interests of property in Mount Nebo owned by, being developed by Mr. LaRoche. You told a prospective buyer as you passed by a building on the adjoining property, you said, "Don't worry, we'll have that eyesore down within a year."
That's not
You
true.
found you cannot buy the property, and now it's funny that here we are a few months later facing this ridiculous ordinance. Furthermore, that eyesore, though not in or for general use, is a storage building for hay for a farmer's cattle. May seem useless and unsightly and unsafe to you, but it serves its purpose. If you're going to start tearing down buildings such as this, you'll have to tear down every barn in the county because barns are not built to be aesthetically pleasing, but for functionality. In conclusion, the inadequate notifications of meetings such as this, the broad language of this ordinance, that this seems to be a pattern of conduct for this commission in that it appears the same manner was used with the fire fee and the state park, along with your statement, Mr. Cole, while only circumstantial evidence or probable cause at least. In 9 years with the Nicholas County Sheriff's Department, I've won criminal cases with the same type and amount of circumstantial evidence. I urge you, do not open Pandora's box by passing this ordinance. If you pass this evil and intrusive ordinance, you will be opening Pandora's box. Thank you.
Thank you. And a point of order, I'm not familiar with the statement of adjacent buildings to Mr.'s property, and the county commission had no part in the state park. That was a state and city project. That being said, Mr. Jason Fields. Jason Fields. One more time for Jason Fields. Okay? Is that him? No, he's walking. Jason Fields. Okay. Terry Hartshorn. Terry Hartshorn? Terry Hartshorn. Terry Hartshorn.
Where you at, Terry?
Okay. Marletta Seabolt. Marletta Seabolt. Well, I'm good. Sharon Kaiser.
I wasn't in there to speak, but gave it to you to sign it.
Okay, just as attendance, okay. Mark Kaiser. Same thing, okay. Nancy Dorsey.
I've already spoken.
Okay, thank you. And Philip Sigler.
You got anything else to say, Ms. Dollar? You have anything else to say?
You want to come up, start, and then you can begin.
Yeah.
However you like.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's one other thing I'm going to say, that land reuse agency. The way that the state code, I believe, has that mentioned, it only applies to things that are within municipal limitations. It does not apply to county limitations. And so therefore, I think that is also overreach. I can point to the section in the code where I did find that language, so I think that you probably need to reread that and figure out, because these people that live out in the country clearly do not want your hands on their property. They want left alone. They want to be able to do what they need to do as far as farming and taking care of their land and taking care of their property in the manner in which they see fit, and do not need your hands on it. Thank you.
A point of order, I agree with Heather Tolley's comments, with the concerns from the constituents. And you can look at Fayette County, they do have a county-wide land reuse agency. It is an example, it's an example that we're considering and have not voted on.
Okay, you're open with your vote. How about the others that's got a vote? How many people's got a vote on this?
Three.
All right, you're open.
That's not fair.
What about you, Craig?
Gary?
Gary is answering.
How many of y'all?
So if you guys would like to have that, we'd be glad to give it to you. All right, so I'm a no vote.
Hey,
I stated
Order,
that.
Is on the agenda where you're allowed to vote on it today?
No, it's just
No.
expressing our individual.
Only the public hearings
our
on the
individual
agenda.
intent. My individual intent, as I stated in the beginning, I thought it was good, so I saw it through another set of
Hey,
eyes.
guys.
Yeah, I don't hear one person.
1 minute. Go ahead.
That's it.
Rest assured, we'll hold you to it.
Absolutely.
If you don't vote no, we will hold you to it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I guarantee it.
That's all right. We don't even need to be here if you guys don't tell us how you want to vote.
Honest, we would have
For us
done
to
that,
know.
but we didn't want to short anybody on their chance to have an input. We could have each individually stood and gave you our input. So, we're doing it. So you've got 2 out of 3 right off the top. That's majority, right? Okay.
So that means it's not gonna pass.
Correct.
That's all we needed to know, Bob.
It's based off state code. It's based upon state code.
Okay, now I got a question for you. If that's the case, why does it give you all permission?
Okay. Order back in the room. Order back in the room.
This is state code.
Sir, someone else's time to speak.
Oh, okay.
You've already had your opportunity to speak. Someone else is to speak. Please be respectful third time.
I'll just do the next one. Yes. We have Mr. Sam Underwood.
Sam Underwood.
He's
People
here.
here smarter than I am. But I do know one thing. I'm a Christian. You don't kick your brothers when they get down. If they can't afford to fix their place up, you help them.
Yes, that's right.
You don't do this thing. And you county commissioners, I voted for you. You need to do your job, do it right. Don't be doing all this crooked dealings, because the people in this county are fed up with it. I worked all my life to pay and buy my place. It's paid for. And I don't want one of y'all to come over and tell me. I got an old 1957 bulldozer sitting right there beside my garage. I've had it for years. And ain't a one of you gonna come over there and say, well, we're gonna haul this off out of your place.
That's just like family. And I want you to know, you all better wake up and smell the roses, because it ain't gonna be long. The Lord's gonna come back. You're gonna answer for any of these things you do.
Absolutely.
Every one of us is gonna answer to Him.
Amen.
So you need to ask the Lord into your life and try to make good decisions as a person. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Make decisions for the people of the county. Y'all going in order?
Trying to. The ones we can read. Rebecca W. Worley.
Do me a favor, because I can write your minutes. Get those other three and have somebody read them off independently and make sure we got them. Yeah, we had heard them.
I can only read the ones I have. Rebecca W. Okay. I can't read that. Bruce Workman. And please know we asked for print, and some of the cursive we can't read here, so we're working through it pending your writing. Bruce Workman. Samantha Workman. Samantha Workman. Pamela Lowry. Okay.
Hi guys, I'm Pamela Lowry. And really, you just told me what I wanted to know. There's two of you that's gonna vote it down, so it's not gonna hunt, because we're not a community like that. We're not Fayette County, we're not Webster County. And like, the dilapidated stuff I can understand, you know, but if it's a person's dwelling and they're, you know, this is almost heaven, West Virginia. We're pretty happy with it, and if we're happy with it, that's all it needs to be. You know, we didn't set out to make everybody happy, just ourselves, and take care of one another, and that's what we try to do. So I'd so appreciate it if you did not let this pass. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sandy Spencer, have you already spoke? Sandy Spencer, I believe she's already spoken. Are you Sandy? Are you Sandy? Okay. Susan Hillary, you've already spoken. Jason Hypes, you've already spoken. Martha Lake, have you spoken? Daryl Rose, we heard from. Margaret Pearson,
That would be me.
okay.
I've heard so much today, and this is my first attendance at a public meeting anywhere. And I've lived in Florida, and I've lived in North Carolina, and now I'm home in Summersville. It's crazy. I thought I was going to be the only one here. But anyway, I disagree with this. When I first read it, I was shocked and amazed, and frankly, I was angry. Because this reminds me of what Hitler did to the Jews in Germany. Just take everything. Just take everything. And we're just like the Jewish people. And it's not going to cut it. I disagree with this. I think you guys need to go back and show the state what Nicholas Countyans are made of. That you're not going to put up with this. This is crazy. It's a land grab that was instituted by the state. And I know what their end game is. You know, the gas companies probably are out of land that they want to frack. And none of these people are going to sell their land to the gas companies or allow them to drill on their land. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. Look what they did to Pennsylvania. So that's it. I disagree. I hope you guys will have the courage to vote it down and show the legislatures, what we're made of, what you're made of, okay? You have the choice, You can be heroes to the people of Nicholas County, or you can be villains, because that's what this paperwork is. Villainy, pure and simple. And we won't have it. We won't have it. There will be a revolution if this stuff tries to go through in Nicholas County. And just so you know, if you're Republican, I voted for you, okay? I vote straight Republican. And I like you guys. Show me what you're made of. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Hypes?
That was me, but I just accidentally, I don't want to speak.
Oh, you're fine. And Dale, you want to speak? Just, okay.
Dale, did you sign? No, he didn't.
Okay. Back to Rebecca Workman. Bruce Workman. Samantha Workman.
Are you?
We have multiple sign-ins. Pamela Lowry.
I did.
Thank you. Kathleen Rose. Ross. Kathleen Ross.
She done last.
Thank you, sir. Bernie Ross. Left as well. Kenneth Summers.
Yep. I don't have any prepared remarks for today. I got calls from a couple of my out-of-state landowner cousins. They'd found out about this meeting somehow, and I thought it was going to be at the courthouse, but looks like when I showed up that everybody else got wind of it too.
If everybody be respectful of Mr. Summers' time, please, so everybody can hear. Thank you.
Anyway, these out-of-state landowners have inherited property from my granddad, and I have property that I've inherited from my granddad and my great-granddad and another granddad. Anyway, one of the points of contention, I think, that if the commissioners, if they kind of got looking a little deeper into why there are so many abandoned properties here in the county, they discover that a lot of the property is tied up in airship. This is a major, major concern. I've got property that I would love to go in and repair, but I'm not going to spend my money and time and effort working on something that I only own, a fraction of. Makes no sense. So if you want to do something important, figure out a way to get some, whatever money's out there, to help take care of these airship properties. That's what you ought to be looking at.
If
Not
the owners
snooping
agree.
around trying to figure out a way to get some free handout money from the state or the feds and spend our taxpayer money hiring some individual to snoop around and be a snitch on people. That ain't gonna work. Now I want to tell you a story about some property that my dad and mom inherited 35 years ago. My dad got a letter from the DEP. They had been on his property snooping around and found what they called an illegal dump on his property. They were uninvited, they were trespassing, but they wrote a letter to my dad and they said, Mr. Summers, what are you going to do about this illegal trash dump on your property? Well, he came to Summersville and talked to somebody, and the word he got was, even though he had found names of people in the trash, there's not a thing we can do, Mr. Summers, because those people will just deny that it's their trash and that someone stole their trash and put it there. Can you imagine? Now, there was a lady just talked a little bit ago about working for the DEP. Now, I know for a fact that the DEP used to have someone that would snoop around and find out what needs cleaned up. You all don't need to be hiring an individual using our tax money to put a guy in charge of snooping around and doing that kind of stuff. Get the state involved, since it's the state's money that you're trying to grab. That's what this is. I hear everything is about money, and it's all a grab for some free money coming down like it's raining out of the sky on us. I'm not into that myself. I take care of what I need to do myself. That's just the way I am. And I don't have a whole lot more to say about this, but let me look here. I did make one or two little scribbles here. Another thing we ought to be doing is teaching kids in school to take pride in their community. Now, I know this ain't got nothing to do with school, but every time I go up and down 39 or whatever road, I see trash piled in the ditch. It's because no one, I know pride's supposed to be a sin, but a little bit of pride don't hurt nobody. Anyway, that's about all I got to say. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, sir.
I'm against this, by the way. Lyle Neal is my cousin, and I agree with everything the man said. And him and his boy both. All right, I'm done.
Thank you. Edwin Freeman. Edwin Freeman. Or Edwin Fredman. Thank you. Ryan Rader. Ryan Rader? Yes, sir.
Well, I'm opposed to this. I think this is an overreach on your all's part. I think everything that's been said is pretty well right on the head. But y'all need to focus on saving the people in the county more money to help those guys behind you. Because they already got a job to do. There's already laws in place for this. And, you know, Johnny, I know Johnny, he's all about helping the people. And with him working with the DNR and the DEP, this will all be taken care of. And anything that has land in it that y'all oppose in the future, I'm against. So my property and what's on it is my business, nobody else's. So y'all need, from now on, need to somehow make it more public about when these meetings are, and not just on Facebook. It needs to be in the Nicholas County paper for multiple times, months in advance. Because if this was held at 5 o'clock at night, y'all would probably have to rent the Armory instead of at 10:30 in the day. So y'all need to do better as a commission to keep problems like this from happening. And I think the county is going to get more involved after this. So,
Thank you. Okay. Jason Malcolm. Jason Malcolm. Okay. And just a point of order, the business is never done, and I appreciate Mr. Rader's comments, but while I've been on the commission, we've passed the 2 largest pay raises in county history for our deputies, so we're trying. We are trying, so I just want to make that clear. We're working on that too. Did I just say Jason Malcolm? Randy M. Randy Morrison, maybe? He left. Dana Holcomb. Okay, Blue Cody.
I think you guys are very accessible. I vote for you. I vote for you again. I've come in and asked everyone what you thought about this. You both said you didn't want it. You had to put it in here. About changing it before you put it in here, then you would even be more acceptable to trying to get what you thought you wanted in it. So I understand completely where you're at. I understand. The question is, if nobody come here, would you vote it in?
Nope. I voiced my opinion last week.
I think you all have, and I appreciate that very much. I drove to Richwood for a funeral the other day. It's falling down. Y'all want to talk about the roses and whatever they did here? Yeah, they bought a lot of property. They started out with a little car lot with nothing. And they put it in and built this. We look like Richwood if it hadn't been for most of what they've done. They're perfect? No. Have I worked with them? Yes. And I've worked against them? Yes. I've worked with every one of you, against you, for you, bid against you, bid for you, work for you, or work against you. That don't make me like you, dislike you anymore, or whatever. But I don't understand how that this can come this far and be here without you all having, this is unreal. Try to tear down somebody's property or take their stuff. But and I've been thrown out of this building, I've been thrown out of the courthouse, and I've been thrown out, can't even find out why I was thrown out. That's okay that I've been thrown out of there because the sheriff don't have a phone for 6 or 7 months. Bull crap. This place is tore all down everywhere. And Richwood's tore all to pieces. And we're complaining about this here in our community and wanting to be aggravated at you all. Like I say, if you're all going to vote this in, then you're wrong. Everything I've heard you all say behind closed doors and everywhere else, this is totally, but it has to be brought ahead. There's very influential people coming in here, coming into our county, coming in wanting to buy property off of them, wanting to buy my property, wanting to buy your property. They're wanting to take it. And that this is brought in, it has to be brought up and voted for or against. And I appreciate you guys very much. I respect you. Like I say, there's things I don't agree with you about, but you're the most open door gentleman I've had access to since coming back here, and I appreciate you.
Sue or June Rader?
Okay, I really did quite a bit of homework here, but after listening to everyone, I don't need to go through it again. So what I want to say is that I'm totally against it. Everything they said here, I want everyone to realize action speaks louder than words. Your Nicholas Chronicle published this, saying the commissioner purchased 3 parcels of land from Donna Legg in Nowlin, Nicholas County, for $1. And they will be structures on her property that will need to be removed. What woman, a grandmother, mentally incapacitated, what is the reason anyone would give up 3 parcels of land for $1?
A point of order, if you'd reviewed the commission meeting, that was presented as a donation to the county because she couldn't get anyone to buy it.
And it's in the flood zone.
And it's in a flood zone.
We're all happy with it now.
Good question. Thank you. Charles Rose. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Sir? He came in after I did. I don't understand how we.
You see him on here?
Go ahead, sir. I didn't mean to stop.
All right. I want to address 3 different groups of people here. And I do have several things to say, and I'll try to be quick. I'm nobody but a peon that's lived in Nicholas County most of my life. You can't make a living in Nicholas County. I'd have to leave to work. The money's not here, the jobs are not here, and I've had to leave. I've worked very little in Nicholas County my whole life. I've lived most of it in Nicholas. But I've also worked in Manhattan, Washington, D.C., in Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina. I've been all over. I've worked in multi-million-dollar mansions and dumps. I've done service work and construction work all my life. So I have a little different perspective than a lot of people here. And I'd like to share a couple things that I've learned through the years in this. I took a man on tour some years ago, a very high-ranking official in FEMA, also a retired military officer on tour through West Virginia. Okay? And I took him on tour up through to the Green Bar and a number of our attractions. And he said something to me that stuck with me all these years. He was out in the Midwest, Kansas maybe. He said, I don't want to see the green trees. I'm not interested in waterfalls. I'm not interested in your lake. I took him by the lake up here. He said, I want to see the old fallen down store building with the Coke sign on the front. I want to see the old shack with no paint on it and a car on blocks in the front yard. I want to see some nostalgia. I wouldn't drive 500 miles to look at green grass. It's everywhere around me. He said, I want to see the past, the history. So I took him by some of the old fallen down store buildings. They're not there no more, up and down Route 60. He loved it. That's what he wanted to take pictures of. I took him through Richwood and took pictures of the storefronts with the names on them, closed, dilapidated. That's what he wanted to see. He said, I'd drive 500 miles from that. I'll spend my money. I'll come back and stay 2 weeks with my children and my wife and show them this, the history, the nostalgia. What I'm trying to tell you is everybody's idea of beauty is not the same thing. Every tourist coming in here ain't a whitewater raptor. Some people come in here to see our history, to see our country living. They want to see the stove with the smoke going out from your house. They're looking for that stuff. They want to see it. It's of interest. I grew up around a father who loved antique cars. I watched hundreds of people drag junk out of fields and barns. 10 years later, they're $100,000+ antiques or hot rods. If you destroy them now, where's the future antiques come from? I heard somebody say they had an antique shop. If you tear everything down now and destroy it, where's the future's history and antiques coming from? Everybody's idea of beauty is not the same. That's for the people that think about tourism. I don't like rats, roaches, dumps. I've seen trash piles coming up there should have been going long ago. I don't keep trash at my house. I clean it up. But I've never been in a mansion that didn't have some mouse dropping somewhere in the basement or a back room or something. That's just a problem people deal with. If you can walk into somebody's shed or whatever else and found a mouse dropping and condemn it, there's something wrong with that. Okay? If you don't think the people that's for this stuff, if you don't think it's going to go too far, if it isn't already too far, you need to go to the areas that already have this. I've been there when a grandmother in white hair got served a fine because her grass was 3.5 inches high instead of 3. Because whatever this starts with just grows. Next thing you know, they're going to tell you what color to paint your house and what style of siding you can put on it. I've lived and worked in those areas. People are miserable. They're unhappy. They're living in stress. There ain't no pursuit of happiness in that stuff. You want to live in $1 million mansion, go to a subdivision. Leave the people out in the country trying to make their way alone. Now the third thing is, I have an 88-year-old mother. My father left her a mess. He was a pack rat, antique car lover. He collected old cars and stuff. Some of us are worth $1 and a lot of it just needs got rid of. I've been hauling it off for 2 years. There is no freaking way if somebody come in on her property and wrote her a fine out of her little Social Security check that she's barely making it on in a house with a leaking roof I can't get no help on. You can't find people to even help you or even work a little bit anymore in this county. If you find a contractor, they want $50 to $100 an hour. Who can afford that stuff? I have a number of people in my family on Social Security, 60s, 70s. They can't afford no fine, even a small one. I can't afford it. It would bankrupt me and put me and my son in bankruptcy. And 30 days is ridiculous. You've got an old car you need to get rid of. Call somebody and try to get rid of it. See if you can get somebody out there.
Get somebody to answer the phone in 30 days.
You can't even get somebody to answer the phone at CBS anymore. Anyway, you can't do this stuff in 30 days. I'm tearing down a structure now. I've been tearing on it for 6 months. I might look right on the outside, but I'm busted up inside. I've got a really bad back. I have a little strength in my arm. I can't do very much. Leave me alone, it's going to get cleaned up. But don't come on my property trying to put me in bankruptcy or take what I paid for when I was working. And people like my mother, they can't afford to do nothing. She's getting just enough to get by. They need left alone. They pay taxes in this county and lived here their whole life. You want all this regulation? Move to California. It's there. We're here because we hate it and we don't want it. Now lastly, you need to leave people alone because most people are barely getting by unless they're one of the select few that got one of these good jobs of the few plants that's in this county. Most people's working out of this county. A large portion can't hardly make it. They can't afford to do any more. My mom wants her roof fixed. We've been 2 years trying to get a roof fixed. Now, lastly, to you guys, I want to say something about this. I was listening here. See, I listen to reason. There's dumps around here needs cleaned up. Nobody's disagreeing with that. You want to help somebody, make a way that them people that can't afford it to do it. Make a way for the person that's got a burn out house and wants it off their land, but they can't afford 15 grand to have it smashed and put in the thing. You know how many things I had cut to pieces with a little saw and throw them in a truck and haul the free day? That's the way I got to clean it up. I can't afford 15 grand. If you want to help somebody, make a way. Why not set up something in funding that the person that's got that land that needs cleaned up could call and say, I need help, I can't do this by myself. How about make a way that the trash piles, you know, for this widow that can't do anything about it, you know, somebody else left it there. Or I bought property that's trashed up.
I'm sorry.
Make
sir,
a
we're
way
trying
to clean it
respect
up.
everybody's time. I appreciate your comments, but we've gone quite a bit over here. But thank you. And to clarify for like the situation with the leaking roof, what's the board you're on?
Nicholas County Community Action will come put a new roof on for you.
They can do assistance.
Haven't been successful yet.
Have you called them? Have you called them?
I went through the program, I don't know what it's called, but I went through a program.
Behind Dairy Queen.
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's the people you talk to.
If you give me your name and number, I'll guarantee you'll get a phone call.
Yeah. Okay. Janice Gray.
Janie.
Janie Gray. Thank you. Sorry.
My real name is Lavina Jane Gray. Everyone on Facebook knows me as Janie Wine. You guys know me. I just want to point out that you have used Tom Clark as an example, correct?
Correct.
For these ordinances, that it come from him because he works as the county commissioner over there in Webster Springs?
No, he doesn't.
He was.
Okay, well, he was. Well, you use him as an example. And he was on there and he clarified that Webster County gets cost of reimbursements from a grant. He also clarified that the properties have been cleaned up willfully by the owners, which clarifies that we don't need government overreach and these ordinances don't need to exist. It's all on the people anyway. I also want to say that, you know, I understand you said you don't require to answer questions, but I believe you should answer questions because you're elected into these seats, you know?
What do you want to ask?
And we've been told now that, okay, you have mentioned that the Economic Authority Development Authority drafted it. Then you said that the commissioners.
They recommended us to consider.
Okay.
And
Then
we took the
you,
Webster County example that has already been passed.
okay.
Yes.
And then you said that the commissioners helped draft it. And then you went and said, we just removed Webster County and put it in Nicholas County on
That's
ordinance
correct.
that was already, okay.
Yes.
And then you came out and said the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority proposed it before you. So I really want a clarification as to how
They did that.
this proposal was brought before you. Did you guys do it? And which one proposed it? If you don't mind me asking.
Sure, yes. And if I could go first, what I'll explain is we were recommended from Jenna Belcher, who is the Executive Director of New River Gorge Regional Development Authority. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, let me stand back up. We were recommended by Jenna Belcher, who's the Executive Director of New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, which is the 4-county program that we're a part of by state code, to consider these ordinances. They really didn't have any help in trying to draft anything, so they recommended other counties to look at. That's where we took the Fayette County land reuse and the Webster County safe structures. So we took these up in consideration, and yes, basically we just had legal counsel take it and say, take Webster and put Nichols. And so these are just possibilities that we can look at. I've never had my heart set on it because, in truth, the reality, and I give credit to NRGRDA because I believe their request was absolutely sincere. I was told falling over, half-burnt houses and open trash piles. There was no conversation about vegetation and vehicles and coming on your property until you, with just sending a little letter, like that's really a lot of notification. That's what we found in state code, and that's what conflicts, so that's where we might have to go back to the legislature. But I still want this current rendition gone to start over and go like that. But that would be my interpretation.
Well, there is
of
one
this.
more thing
Yeah.
that hasn't been brought up here. I mean, he did touch on it with the elderly and, you know, Social Security and all that. I have a disabled child, and she does not have the mindset of a newborn half the time. And my parents lived here all their lives. I've lived here almost 55 years. My mom and dad was always involved in our communities, especially my daddy. He's done a lot for a lot of people in this county. The only way that they could make it to where my daughter could have the property there in Craigsville, where we live right now, was to make her a lifetime resident. It's actually under my son, but my daughter has the right to live there till she dies. Now, you guys need to take that into consideration when you do this, because that's called a hardship. And no, she ain't gonna be able to go out and take down my dad's building that's falling down. She's not gonna be able to take away a vehicle he drug in there that I can't even get a title to right now because it was in his name. I have to go and take my mom where she was his executor. Then I have to take where I was her executor just to go down to try to get a title to take it in for scrap. You know, and I need help with this stuff. My brother works 24/7. He lives basically in Fairmont. He works way up above there. I mean, he's really from Nicholas County, but he don't have time to come up and help me. I inherited these messes. I didn't create them. So my point is I really want you guys to keep that into consideration, please. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good speech. Wendell Richmond? Yes, sir? No hurry.
Forgot my cane.
I just want to say a couple things. In your paperwork there, you mentioned leakage, and I suppose that's from septic systems?
It might be that, or it would be the one about hazardous materials. I'm not sure exactly which.
Well, you know, you mentioned leakage. I don't have any leakage. I put in my own tank, had it done, everything done right. But how are you going to do that? How are you going to go on somebody's property, dig a hole in the ground? Man going to wake up and go outside and there sits 2 or 3 people out there digging a hole in his yard? Or, I mean, think about it. And another thing, the notification of this was stupid. My granddaughter, which uses a Facebook and all that stuff, and I do too, but I don't go that far. I mean, you're looking at men that work. Every one of us work hard. I worked hard all my life. This piece of paper that you're trying to shove down our throats, you should take it to a lawyer, let him help you. He knows what words to put in there. Not just, let me put this out here, y'all expect all these people to accept what you're trying to stick down their throats. I mean, Jiminy Chris, I don't even think y'all even read it yourself sometimes.
I have, in point of order, I'm voting against it. Just so you know.
Well, it's just, I don't hear him saying it. I don't hear him saying it.
I believe they already did.
You know what I'm saying? To me, this is so ridiculous that every one of us had to come in here to listen to this crap. So you can maybe get an idea of what you're doing, how it's going to go.
To hear the public's input.
Yeah. Well, you ought to know the public interest. You were voted for. If the people showed up here today, had to come from all over. I live in Wilderness Public Service District. No? I work for, I do the Adopt a Highway program. I'm 71 years old. I'm crippled, but I pick up trash along the road.
Thank you.
Men riding Raider. I live close to riding. There's a piece of property down there. I wish to God somebody cleaned it up. I can't do it. But do you think I'm going to walk on the man's property and tell him what he needs to do? No. No. And you can't tell all these people what to do.
That's right.
And you can't shove it down our throats because the state wants it done. You can change things. And if you don't rewrite that, ain't none of us gonna accept it. No, nobody in here is gonna accept it. I haven't heard one person say anything any different today. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Okay, review through these. Tom Blankenship.
Well, let me say, I made a mistake. I used to be on county commission for 12 years and I got beat. But I made a mistake. I thought, well, I'm going to go in the back and be the last one to get to speak, where I should have been up here and done like you do if you're a Baptist. You ought to be right on the front row. Now, having said that, I made mistakes, I'm sure, when I was county commissioner. But guys, when you looked at that and you see that that ordinance is going to pertain to your deer stand,
You see anything that I haven't checked?
that alone would be enough to vote it down. Without going any further, to try to tell someone about their deer stand. And I used to be a hunter until I got too old. But, having said that, I was going to suggest if you could do it now, but you can't, you've got to go through another meeting. But all three of you has already agreed that when it comes up, you're going to vote it down, right? So, guys, you've done something, because they all three agreed, and that's what we need to know.
This is all that I can find in the signatures, and I had Commissioner. Okay. In the red there first, if you'd state your name, David Cook, okay?
I don't live in the county, but I do pay taxes and have a business here. Got a few questions. If I understood Mr. Chapman, you're on the committee that recommended this ordinance?
I sit on that board, yes.
So you sat on that board that made the recommendation. So nothing was a surprise when it came.
The executive director of that board. recommended
Well,
to the
but
commission.
you all don't talk?
Not outside of meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take that as garbage. Anyway. All right, so in this ordinance, when it came to you, it was a proposal. Doesn't mean you had to pick it up,
Once we do the first reading, we have to go through the entire process.
okay? But when it was suggested, it's just a suggestion when it comes from a committee. Doesn't mean you have to pick it up. So you all determined you need to pick it up. And then you went through the process, and evidently, like everybody else here, you did not read it, or it was too broad.
We read it.
Your counsel should have told you it was too broad, that it wasn't going to pass muster. Okay? Notifying the people, I'm pretty sure everybody gets a tax bill that has property in Nicholas County. Would it not have been easier to done a mailer and set up a date so everybody could have voice?
Clerk, how much would that cost?
Well, you could probably ask the government. Evidently, everything you all want to do is get money from the government, which we supply. And if it's not us, it's the federal government, so everybody in the country is supplying that money. So instead of putting the burden just on us, you're reaching out to everybody else. How about we quit, like Trump is trying to do with Doge, and quit the bureaucracy and live within our means. Quit finding ways to tax us and take our money. Okay, we're trying to make a living. We're trying to feed families, but yet you all keep more and more and more and more. Okay, did you all ever consider that we just want to live without all the big city bull crap that is coming? You're shaking your head, but yet you're doing it. Don't shake your head.
I'm not doing
oh
anything,
yes,
sir,
oh
other than
yes.
going through the
Okay.
process. I have not voted on this ordinance.
Well, and that's right. Everybody thinks that you all voted down. That's what you're saying. You ain't done it yet. Until
Right,
you
we
do
need
it,
to.
we don't know what
Right.
you're going to do. My grandmother lived up at Slade Fork. 94 years old. Had to go up against Snowshoe because they wanted to put a water and waste treatment plant right behind her trailer where she lived. They got nailed, Mr. Walt Helmick, and didn't happen. Okay? A lot of money up on that mountain, and it didn't happen. 94 years old. Don't believe they will not do it to you if you give them an inch. Okay? Everything that is there, it's not a rewriting. We don't want it in any capacity. Okay? If somebody needs help, then build a fund for them. Allow them to come for you for money and assistance. If you see a place that needs help, you go talk to that owner. Don't put it on everybody for one. Don't put it on everybody for one. Okay? Mr. Roberts, you said it's business and it's personal. When your DI was in your face, was it personal or was it business? No, it was personal because he's in your space. Don't tell me that. I was there.
He was doing his job.
Okay? You're not.
The drill
Because
instructor was
if
doing
you
his
were
job.
representing
100%
us,
business.
then it's not business. This is personal. Everybody has property. It's personal.
I answered your question.
Okay?
The DI
It's
was doing his
personal.
personal business
Yeah.
job.
To you, it was not business. Okay? People, look at what they put before you. It's not an inch. It's not at all. You have to be very vigilant and holding them to what they say they're going to do. Because just because they're here doesn't mean they're going to do it when you're not. That's all I have to say.
Sir in the back.
Yeah, I put my name down on the duck book for the last one on the list. You have it up there?
I'm ready to.
You may begin.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. I have seen this, what you guys are doing here, twice.
Could you tell me your name?
Garland Mahon, Garlin Mahon.
Thank you.
Excuse me? I have seen this twice. I was born and raised in Mingo County, and they voted ordinances in just like this. And it was broad reaching, and it went over the whole county, and a lot of senior citizens were dumped out. The older people that couldn't afford it, the rich thrived, and the poor suffered. And it didn't clean anything up. Didn't clean anything up. They hired contractors from out of state, took bribes. It was openly told down there. They took bribes and it filled their pockets full. Same way in Logan County. I come from Logan County. I just recently moved here within the last, I think, 5 years, and I thought I'd move to a nice farming district. And here is this crap again. And I'm not being disrespectful to you guys. I'm just saying this is not going to work. I mean, we're tired of it. I'm tired of it. I've moved out of 2 counties because of crap like that. And here I am looking at it again. It's you guys can do better than this. You know, people voted you all in depending on you to help them. And this is not helping them. This is helping nobody but the guy that wants the homeowners association. We don't live there. We live in a farming district, guys. We live out where people lived like years ago, and why do we need to change? Ain't everybody here doing good? Does anybody need a change? Me either. So why propose something to change it? You're supposed to be working for us, guys, and you're not, or we wouldn't be standing here. Nobody would be here. You guys would have stopped it right off the bat when it comes. We don't need that. Our people don't need that. But yet we're here. Like I said, I might have come on hard and disrespectful, and I didn't mean that to anybody. But I've got a question for you guys. Are you going to vote it in?
No, sir.
Are you going to vote it in? Are you going to vote it in?
No, sir.
We don't need to be here then. We don't need to be here, and you guys need to be held accountable for it. If you vote for it or it votes in, you need to be voted out.
Correct.
You have the power. Vote them out if they don't do your will. They're elected to serve the people.
Absolutely.
So serve the people. Serve the people and we'll vote you back in. I'll be the first one to say that. Do what's right. We live in a Christian community, a Christian area. So be Christian. Look at what people need, what people want. Do you think that Christ would vote people's homes out, vote people's barns out? Really? And the word Christian means Christ-like. So if you're not Christ-like, then where are you at? you're not going to go to heaven. And I'm not judging you. It says, judge not lest you be judged. But you guys need to think about what you do here. This right here will determine what happens to this county and to our citizens.
Can I
I
ask
really-
you a question?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Because you've been pretty outspoken today.
Yes.
Do you think there's any solution to get rid of eyesores that people have walked away from, some done, not your responsibility. We're not, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him, please. Do you think there's any solution, or it should just be killed and walked away from?
No.
And another thing I want to say,
Okay.
you say be Christ-like.
Yes.
Accusing us of stuff that we have no intention of ever doing is not Christ-like.
I didn't accuse.
You didn't, but we have been accused of that.
I didn't accuse. I asked you in a nice manner, please don't do this.
Right. But do you
Please
think-
don't do this to these people.
Do you think there's any solution to get rid of old abandoned store buildings and things that are unsafe and fallen down, half-burnt buildings?
Yes, sir.
Do you think there's a solution to do that?
Yes, sir.
What is it? Because we want answers to help us. We don't
Well,
want.
we just talked about this. This was just brought up. People have said about everything I had to say, but this was just brought up. The money that you're going to use to hire agents or contractors or whatever to go out here and do all this, if you've got that money.
We don't.
Okay.
And without an ordinance, we don't get the money.
Well,
I mean, it's a dead issue.
you got people that's in power right now. You got the DNR, you got the EPA. I've dealt with all of them. I had businesses. I've been in the coal industry for 33 years, so I know what power they got. They can come in and tell you this has got to be cleaned up, and you don't clean it up, then they can make you clean it up, or they can bring people to clean it up, or they can fine you every day. Why do we need you guys to come in and steal the property? And I'm not saying.
But we're not going to steal property.
Well, I saw it done in Mingo County and Logan
We're
County.
not Mingo and Logan County.
Well, the same ordinance is down there. Same ordinance. Same identical ordinance. Almost word for word. And I can get a copy of it and bring it to you. I mean, I've seen it twice.
But I'm asking solutions or just kill it. That's
They already laws in effect. Your DNRs can make you clean the trash up. Your EPA can come in and get all the bad chemicals off the ground. They have the rights to do that. Why do we need to harm more people and inconvenience all these people or put a hardship on them? What right have we got?
Honestly, they're not doing it.
No, they will. It went from that, I promise you it won't happen, to now everybody down there is in arms. And I seen it get in arms in Mingo County. They blocked the road and told them they will not come on their property. And there was 200 people with guns. You don't want something like that because that involves these guys. And these guys are not bad guys. What I've been up here and what I've associated with your law enforcement, you got good guys up here. Really good guys. So you're putting them in a bad spot. You're putting us in a bad spot. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you even consider that? You know, you're public servants and these are your neighbors. You got to live with these people. So why would you do that? Why are we even here? You're supposed to serve us and say, oh, this ain't going to work. This is too broad. This right here is going to cause hardship on Billy and on Nancy and on George. This is going to cause hardship. You know these people. You live here.
Once we've come to this meeting, we understand that.
Yeah.
But we've followed the process to where it has to be.
I've got no quarrel with the process, and I'm familiar with processes. I've been in the coal industry, like I said, for years. I've bossed and I've worked in it, and I've done timber, and I've had welding companies, so I know how protocol works. But this could have been tailed down to where you guys would have just said, we're not going to do this. We're going to go through protocol, but we're squashing this. This is not right. But people come here angry because they think you are not serving them. You're not doing what's right. And there's no reason for all this anger here. No reason. We're neighbors. We live here. I don't want to be mean to you guys. I don't want to, and I apologize to all three if I come off bad, but I'm angry over this. I've been here twice and seen people's homes stolen. I run a construction company at demolition houses, and I went to demolition houses and I quit. I absolutely quit, and there's thousands of dollars in it because I wasn't going to tear your house down because the commission told me I had to. Get another company. Get another company. I'm not doing it. This is wrong. It's wrong altogether. And like I said, you're going to pit us against them. And they're good guys. Don't do this. Because when they come on my property, you're going to have problems. And then they're going to come to me, and it's going to cause a big problem. And there's hundreds of people going to do that. You're going to start a war with your neighbors. Please don't. Please don't. I want to beg you not to. This is not right. Gentlemen, don't do this. Thank you, guys.
My first time here too. Here's to me that this funding is being thought out and not worth the price that it's all
You ask, if you know a solution to the problem, right there sits a man at the end of that table, dedicating his life to digging oil. And in your last meeting, you pretty much said that's a worthless image. That was my taking from it. They just don't do much. I don't know a DNR officer around that one thing that he hates more than anything is litter. And they ain't one of them sorry suckers when they catch you doing something, will find some way to make you take care of it.
Good job, Dale. Okay, yes, sir. And what's your name for the record?
Douglas Cook.
Yes, sir.
I ain't from around here original, but this is the best place I ever lived in my whole life. I come from New Hampshire. This, what they're doing here, what is this, not what you guys are doing, but what that ordinance is, it's a tempest in a teapot. There's all sorts of things hidden with it, in it. And once it's passed, you can't get rid of it. To give you an idea on a scale that we live at, I had a 3-acre farm that I bought for $45,000 that I saved my money at work for cash. When they started doing this, I just sold that house so I could move here because I could see what was going on. In 1 year, the taxes on the house went from $500 to $5,000. And it makes me sick to my heart to stand here and see this potential. I can't, the emotion, I feel crazy. I feel like I want to start a revolution because I see what this does. I'm not pointing at you guys. I'm pointing at that document. It's a document of tyranny, and there's a real technical name for it. It's called the Bill of Attainder. And the Bill of Attainder is probably the most important thing that people who fought to make this country fought against. Because I got to find my notes. It's really important what the Bill of Attainder is. But in the historical records that I studied before I came here, these reasons, the Bill of Attainder expressly banned by Article 1, Section 9 of the United States Constitution, as well by the constitutions of all 50 states, including West Virginia. They back up and reiterate what is in the national constitution. And the founders said some really important things about it because it meant so much to them. That property was the most important thing to them. Because without property, they're destitute. You aren't a human being anymore. You're a drifter. You've got nothing. Who wants to have nothing? Who even wants to be threatened by the possibility that it could happen to you? And that's why I'm standing here and I feel sick in my heart. It just, I can't express the, not fear, but I'm afraid of this happening here in this great place, West Virginia. There's no place like it in the world. I know. I've been all around the world, been everywhere. I moved here 18 years ago, and you couldn't get me out of here with a stick of fucking dynamite. And I'll be damned if anything like that is going to start here. I'll be the first to start a revolution, and I'm saying it right now. Thank you. I'm sorry. I feel real emotional about it, but it's the truth.
Do you look through these? Everyone that we can find signed up. We've been through.
Thanks, Ed. Earlier. So if there's anybody that got missed over, if you want to come around here or do whatever the case is so we can actually know who that is. I asked for that a few minutes ago, we didn't do it. So anybody else that has not been called on? Gentlemen here, these two gentlemen, anybody else? So we got 3. so we're clear on that. Okay. Josh.
You state your name for the record, please.
My name is Josh Meadows,
Thank you, sir.
taxpayer in Nicholas County. Father was, everybody else in the family. You said that you didn't take this. They gave it to you. And then they said, we're not going to give you nothing to go by, go get it on your own. And then after you got it on your own, now whenever we show resistance, you say, well, now that I look at it, that ain't what I want. So I mean, it was okay for you to proceed with it. You thought it was fine, but now that we're showing resistance, you want to back up and say, oh no, that ain't what we want, that ain't what we want.
A point of order, I made my statement clear last week before this meeting. Thank you.
And I've watched a couple of the Facebook posts and all that stuff, and they say, this is not a land grab. This is not a land grab. But nowhere in these papers say, look, we're going to help you without taking your land, without fining you. We're going to help you without taking this. So I don't know if one or all of the commission has somebody, behind them saying, do this, for either financial gains or for something not coming out. But we don't want a revised copy of this. We don't want it. It's just that simple. We do not want it. So there's no use to go back in springtime and try to rewrite this so that it's worded better, so that it slides through or this or that. We just don't want it. So that's what I got to say about it.
Thank you. Dewey Dietz, and then we'll go to you, sir. Oh, okay. He wants you to go first, sir.
Yeah, he's smarter than I am.
My name's Jeremy Dietz, for the record, and I come here, I came here this morning, it's now this afternoon. I don't want a no vote on this. I want a no vote on this and any other version of this that comes along. Nobody here wants it in any form or fashion. I'll talk to you for a minute, Gary. I know you were in the Marine Corps. I say were in the Marine Corps, not former. I'm an Army veteran of 7 years. When I was in the Army, people used to have to come into my living quarters every so often to inspect my living quarters, whether I was in the barracks, on post housing, or off base, renting a place that I paid for with my money. They come in to tell me whether I was living up to standard, whether I was living healthy, whether everything was just right. That's bullcrap. I don't need another grown man or woman to tell me how to live. If I want to live on my place in the simplest form possible, I should be allowed to do that. I've seen comments on Facebook, and I've read them. Well, what about the people who can't afford to tear their stuff down? They've got this place and they can't afford to tear it down. Who says they want to tear it down? It's their place. Let them have it the way they want it. We talk about these paperwork, and I'm a little ignorant because I thought both of these were the same ordinance, but they're not. But we talk about this. Any structure on my property has to be fit for a human to live in? Why? Why does my chicken coop need to be fit for me to live in? I'm not going to go in there and sleep with the chickens. So why does it need to be fit for me to live in it? And there's a lot of this been spoke already, so I'm just trying to jump through my notes here. Well, I'll just end it like this. We're Nicholas County. We're not Webster County. You talk about you got the paper from Webster County and you gave it to your lawyer and he changed all the words from Webster to Nicholas County, which he clearly missed. Right? We're not Webster County. We're not Fayette County. We're Nicholas County. Just because, I'll leave you with this one word or this one statement from my mother when I was growing up, and I wanted to do something that everybody else was doing. My mother would look at me and she'd say, just because everybody jumps off of a bridge, are you going to jump off that bridge too? And that's the way Nicholas County needs to stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Dewey Dietz, and then yes, sir.
You don't need that timer for me because I ain't gonna take long.
Okay.
I know you as a person like you both, okay? I don't like this. I don't think it's fair to the residents of Nicholas County. If you three decide to pass it, I think your career will end, but it'll be too late for us because it's already passed. But I didn't agree with the fire fee that I have to pay every year for the fire department to come save my foundation. Because where I live, by the time they're toned out and they get to Muddley, all I've got's a foundation left, okay? So I'm gonna tell you this right straight up personal, right front. I'm gonna let it be burning good before I call them, okay? So I don't like the 1% sales tax on everything that's bought in the county either.
That's in the city of Summersville.
Okay, well, Summersville's out on Route 19 now. It ain't here where it should be. Okay, so anything you buy in Summersville is 1%. We're not Charleston, Morgantown, you know, we are Nicholas County, and we're not a real rich, abundant county. That's all I got to say about that. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I'm Hoy Willis, and my complaint is didn't know nothing about this. I read the Chronicle, I get it, I go through it a lot. Okay, there was an ordinance, but there was never nothing said about it. Thanks to Miss Tolly, it came on Facebook. Okay, then I got it down where I read every word, and it's rotten to the core, and you all know it. And I don't think it's against all the old people and the poor people. They struggle to pay county taxes. This thing here will just let anybody come in, tell them what they have to do. Whenever they take it, if they don't do it, you know, they'll give them a letter, and then they can fine them. And if it's not done in a certain length of time, they can fine them from 50 cents to $5 a day. Okay, if they get on there, find them a bit of hazmat or something, where they have to call in hazmat. You know what hazmat? It's $25,000 to get them to roll out of Charleston. I'm telling you, it's a shame. What would these people have stacked up against them? Then when that lien comes on, you can't sell them. I mean, it goes to the county. And it's a shame that they're wanting to put these old people out. I know a lot of people that really struggle to even pay their county taxes. What are they going to do? They're not able to get out there and clean this stuff up. I do. I have a couple of cars my granddaughter wrecked in my yard, but I keep everything cleaned up. I got a bunch of tractors and farm equipment on my place. But what are they going to do? Are they going to come in on me? Well, the way I understand it, they can come in if they want to. But I'm against it 100%, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
You want to speak? Okay, you were raising your hand if you'd like to come up. Just state your name for the record, please.
I'm Rod Whiteman. I didn't do that this morning earlier. I've been before this group, the earliest speaker earlier this morning, thought I had a legitimate concern. Did I? Maybe. Anyhow, I'm not a native, and there was another native, and I'm not sure what language he spoke. I'm from the Midwest. He seemed to be from the East Coast, maybe. But at any rate, I've been here 45 years. Businessman, a property owner. Raised my family here, educated them. And I moved here because I had been in my business from Lincoln, Nebraska to Austin, Texas to Frederick, Maryland, and thought I probably knew what I was going to do in life, and chose here because I was dealing at the time with some folks out of Maryland, Delaware, Washington, D.C., and the West Virginians showed up. You were real people, and I loved West Virginians. And I wanted to go and spend my life with you. And I've been very happy doing it. I'm hearing two sides of this story. I know there's something in that ordinance that probably means something to the furtherment and the development and the enhancement of the county. And I hear you don't govern us, run over us roughshod. Do not do that. At any rate, I don't have a lot of comments, but somewhere in there, I will maybe make this point. I've seen some beautiful Christmas cards that may have had an old car, an antique tractor, or a couple of horses in a hay barn that leaned. I've never seen a beautiful Christmas card that was a litter in the ditch, a trash heap, or a half burned out house.
Thank you. Last call? Yes, sir.
My name's Pete Ames.
Yes, sir.
You know, I just want to say, it's tough sitting in a political seat. I've done it as a mayor. I'm sure you guys had some people come to you to say, hey, we need to do this. It's a shame they're not here today. I just say, look around you.
They were invited.
Yeah. I mean, Nicholas County has spoke real loud. I just hope you guys do what the people really want you to do here. Thank you.
One last call. One last call. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to come up? Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to add, I think a lot of the problem that's going on right here today is lack of communication between you all and the people of this town. If you're not on Facebook, then you don't know what's going on, or if you don't overhear from Walmart, you have no idea. You all need to work with the Nicholas Chronicle and get them to print something besides obituaries and sports page. There's other stuff going on in here, and we need to know about it.
And so I don't disagree. We are in the Chronicle every meeting, but we could request better locations. Yes.
When you're messing with someone's property, it needs to be front page news, not a little section on number 9. I mean, something's got to change there to get the people in this community to know what's going on in it.
Okay.
That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
With all of this, has there been a list started as to which properties are at the top of the list? Okay, when would that take place? If this
After an ordinance should ever pass. Because right now, there's no one to collect that data and really nothing to do with that data.
Would it be published in the Chronicle if there was a list to be started? I would hope so.
They're not gonna pass it, so we don't need that. I done spoke once, but I'd like to speak one more time on your solution. Now, we can forget about things, we got stuff at our county spending money on. We're spending a lot of money in one of our municipalities, which they are a municipality, they're their own boss, we need to keep our county money out of it. We're donating tons and tons of money to the Board of Education, which has got tons of money. We're putting money into libraries. Now libraries, I mean, I'm not against libraries in no way, shape, or form, but 99% of the people now has a computer. If they want to know what day Abraham Lincoln stood on his head, they punch it in there. They don't go to the library and read about it, okay? Start some of that money into a fund. And then you come up, if I got a building that's aggravating her or whatever, come up and say, hey, Lyle, you're aggravating your neighbor. The county commission is willing to give you $2,500 to clean this mess up and make it beautiful for the county. Okay, I mean, you know, there is people out there who do this. I do it in a heartbeat. And start that fund, and then that way you don't need nobody's permission. You got the permission right there, you 3 guys. I mean, all you got to do, and then like me, I might have said this, I had it in my mind, I'm a contractor. I tear down a lot of houses in this county. Now, the county commission's willing to give them $2,500. I'm willing to knock $500 or $1,000 off of my bill just because you 3 guys are helping. I mean, that means a lot to know that our county commission stepped up and said, I'm going to help you. Not this stupid crap, I'm going to break one off in you and then we're going to get enough money to help you. That's bull. Do it yourself, people. It's not that hard. I mean, I was in your position one time and I had to do some nasty things. Like, I had to lay off 8 or 9 deputy sheriffs. You ever walk down the hall and say, sir, you don't have a job no more here in the county because we don't have the money to pay you. Well, it ain't good. But anyway, keep that in mind. I mean, that's not a big deal. I mean, if you got $1,000, put it over here in this fund. And you'll be surprised how fast the average house that I tear down costs between $3,000 and $5,000. The average house. Now, you got some other people coming in here charging $10,000 and $20,000, but that's the average price. So you figure if you could donate $2,000, $2,500, the chances are that thing's going to be gone. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for having this meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I lived in a state for 3 years. And the county that I lived in was half the size of West Virginia in that state. Now, their policy was in that county, if you were a county resident, there was no bill to go to the landfill. So a lot of these folks that may not necessarily have the money, and I'm not singling anybody out, but if money was an issue for people to get rid of buildings that may be questionable, get them torn down and get them hauled to the landfill, or garbage, vehicles, whatever the situation might be, maybe if there wasn't so much government waste within the state, and they could reappropriate some of that money towards helping this cause out, and it wouldn't just be in a Nicholas, Webster, Fayette County thing. It could be throughout the state, because there's a lot of waste in our government as far as the money goes. So, that's another option you could look at. Maybe look at some other states and see how they're structured to get rid of their trash and their garbage and their waste.
So in fairness to the bill passed in 2021 and Delegate Tolley, who's with us, that's why that fund was created. Now, what makes us eligible, we need to work on here clearly, but they are setting aside funds for these projects like this. So the state, I believe, is good intended on this. Hearing no one else, before we dismiss here, yes, sir. Well, and with the utmost respect, friend, I didn't need my eyes open. That's actually what I was getting ready to say. I was born and raised on a family farm. I mean, it's not like a tractor hasn't leaked hydraulic fluid on probably all of our property. My granddad, God love his soul, but he had an entire valley he used as a landfill. Now, me and my brother cleaned it up after we inherited it, but that was a choice we made with our own property. I'm the son-in-law of a farmer and a logger, and so it really didn't take a whole lot for me to be against this anyways, and I really don't think the other two. That was time with somebody else, I promise. But anyway, that's the only benefit I get to a gavel, is I can talk a little bit. But, and I'm the grandson of Bob Rader, who passed away. He was a farmer, and he and our cousin Roy Groves had Groves Dairy and Canvas. If you remember that, it's part of the past. And you want to know why that's part of the past? The EPA come in and said they weren't burying their dead cows right to shut them down. Bought their cattle, and that's the only time my granddad, an Army veteran, wasn't proud that he had to stamp USA brand iron cows, USA, because the government bought their cows out in the deal to send overseas, not in the country, to fight hunger.
Yeah.
And so I do respect property rights. I come from a family that respects property rights. I want you to understand, I felt stuck in this process, and we probably all did. We're going through the process. But please hear us when we say where we're at, because that's where I'm at. I've got a family time of proof for it. My father-in-law's my father used to be like a forester. He'd go around warehousing properties, help them trying to clean up and stuff like that. That company took it upon themselves. That's fine. But nobody from the state was in doing it. Nobody from the county was doing it. And that's the way it should be. So that's where I'm at. There's a little backstory on me. You can guarantee I'm behind my word, and there's my reasons why. That being said, is there anything else the commission wants to discuss before we recess?
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you all for coming, truly. It's all discretionary.
We've already said we're not going to vote for it. And if you didn't hear me say that 3 times, you weren't listening.
So, you guys want to hear a statement? Here's a statement. I live in a 1974. 1974. Single wide mobile home. I do. I don't come for money. I have a lawn care business. I'm a one-man show. I cut about 40 yards 3 times a month. I don't come for money. I really don't. And I've heard those accusations from the back. Literally, 1974. I'm 52. That trailer's 50 years old. Bought it for $4,500. Absolutely, absolutely. $4,500. Done some renovations to it. I live on cash. I live a very meager life. So I'm not against anybody, but I'll tell you what I was trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that we don't spend any taxpayer dollars as fiduciary of the county assets, which means the taxpaying dollars. I was trying to make sure we didn't spend any dollars. Any dollars. If we can reach out to the federal government for money that's already laid aside, and I think that's a key point that we need to make here. That money is already put aside in programs. You're not going to get taxed more at the state and federal level, and definitely not at the county level for these monies. They're set aside. So those programs are being utilized by counties in the state of West Virginia, counties throughout the nation, or out throughout the United States, to draw down and apply those. And that was the intent of this program, was to take that money that's already been set aside, that is your tax dollars, and tear these structures down in a cooperation, not a land seize, a partnership and a cooperation. And I honestly believe we've got enough throughout the county that we could probably work a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, just on the voluntary aspect. Hey, I've got something I'd like to throw on the agenda there to get tore down. So if you want, that's my statement, 100% my statement. Through a voluntary partnership. It didn't say that. You guys say you want it killed, so what do we do with the structures? Mr. Neal had some suggestions with that. But like I said, the goal was to not spend your tax dollars. Put them back here in these guys' pockets if we can do it. You know, we just proposed a financial assistance program, and I think that'll address. Where'd Lyle go?
Right there.
I'm looking right past him. I see crowds, and I don't see people. There he is. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to implement a financial request system in the county. You will max out at $5,000 or 20% of your project. You're going to have to submit financials. Those days of handing $20, $30, $40, $50,000 gone. Because that money needs to stay here. It does need to fix the sidewalks for the courthouse. It needs to go in these guys' pockets. We need new uniforms. We need those things. Because right now we're living on grants. So we're doing everything we can to maximize every single dime of your dollars that come into the tax house or into the courthouse. Folks, I'm very accessible. You guys want to talk to me? You want to yell at me, scream at me, cuss at me, do whatever you want to do? Do it. I got thick skin and big, broad shoulders, right? I have no problem with that. But please understand our intent is a very tight word. But come and talk to me and find out what's going on. And as the gentleman in the back said, I'm trying to wrote down. We'll talk to you when we're done in a healthy manner. But if we don't back what we're saying, hold us accountable. Stand right there in the courthouse and say, you're a liar every time I walk through the door. You're a liar and you will not be reelected. I don't have a problem with that. Because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you because there's too many witnesses, right? Let's just go make this funny. So that's what I wanted to say at the end. It's going to be a no vote. It is. But the goal is not to spend a dime of your dollars and pull this money down. I'm just reiterating this part. Pull your money down that you've paid into state and federal taxes, whatever program we can tap from, and use that for the betterment of Nicholas County. The path is ill, I guess it was ill written. And most of what I'm hearing, I haven't heard anybody say yet that they want to move forward with any sort of ordinance so we can pull that $200,000 or $300,000 down. Everybody that's stood so far said no. I do not want this at all in the county. Do you know what that does? Makes our job a lot easier. We just go vote on utility bills. We we pay bills at the courthouse. We do those types of things, and we move on. So if that's the general consent of 200 or 300 people that showed up here today, that you don't want any sort of program like this, folks, that makes my life a lot quicker and a lot easier. We can focus on other things. It's that simple. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate everybody coming out today. I mean, I really do. Thank you all.
Okay. And for the record, the county commission will stand in recess until we adjourn again in the courthouse. Thank you all for coming.
You can if you want.
Preparations for the meeting won't come out of the back. Okay. Okay, do we have is there unanimous consent to reconvene here at the courthouse after the public hearing located at the David Ford Center on Broad Street?
So moved.
Okay. Anyone against? Nope. It was just unanimous consent. So that being said, we have heard our public hearings. We're now here at the request of myself, Commissioner Cole, the Nicholas County Broadband Reconnect Program documents for commission consideration. Really at this time, the only thing that needs to be put on the record is that we were requested by the West Virginia.
Just the USDA. So.
Well, the state that I had to sign the letter for, the state BEAD program.
Oh.
Yes, the BEAD program wanted clarification from the commission if we wanted them to be involved in this project or stick strictly with the USDA. Upon consideration of that, I did sign on behalf of the commission to keep it as strictly USDA, and we are awaiting announcements from them concerning this project one way or the other. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything that Region 4, and Amanda Smart here from Region 4, would like to add?
No, I think, we've received some positive feedback, so hopefully we'll hear from them soon, when they'll make announcements in the next couple of months or so probably, and hopefully there'll be some good news in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Melissa O'Brien from CityNet is joining us here this morning, and wanted to see if there's anything you'd like to add.
Yeah. No, again, I think just reiterate what Amanda said, lots of positive feedback coming from Mr. Jenkins from the USDA, so we'll just sit and play the waiting game as we've all grown accustomed to many of these projects. But I do have a good feeling, and we're excited to partner with Region 4 and Nicholas County Commission.
Absolutely. Are there any questions or concerns while we await official notification of anything?
I think we're in very good hands.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Anything else one more time?
No.
As you can imagine,
Thank you
we
for being
spoke a lot,
patient.
so we
Yes.
appreciate your patience.
Yes.
As 11:30 has become 2:30, but that's part of the process, and we appreciate everyone at the hearings. However, we appreciate your all's patience as well. That being said, we do have commissioners' comments.
I've made all I wanted to make today.
Okay. Absolutely understood. Commissioner Chapman.
Nope, I'm good.
On behalf of myself, I'd like to wish the entire county happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. We have a lot of good things going on in Nicholas County. We have some trying situations that the community is engaged in, and we appreciate the community's engagement. That's how we as a commission make decisions, and especially in the ordinance process. That's what public hearing is all about. And we don't have a head count, we have the lists there for the commission, but we do appreciate the many efforts of the folks who come out today and their patience during the hearings, as they did draw out much longer than some may have anticipated, but a large crowd stayed, and we appreciate that. I guess that's all I have as well.
Motion to adjourn.
It's a motion to adjourn made by Commissioner Roberts to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is Wednesday, December 18th, 2024, and it is 2:32 p.m. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry, and we do stand adjourned.